Are you gonna do citizens to be heard right at the beginning?
Oh, we will, yeah.
Okay.
And then we've got the public comment seats.
Yes.
Now we gotta do. that. All right, there's your YouTube. There's your Zoom. And you're good to go.
Super, thank
And
you very much.
I'll go check and make sure.
Thanks,
You bet.
So, the time is 4:34, and I'm going to call the November 24th regular Grand County Planning Commission meeting to order. To start off, we will have a citizens comment period that does not address any of the public hearings that we will talk about later on at 6 o'clock. So if we have some people in the room who want to maybe comment not on Lavina subdivision, McMurdy ADO, or Bates rezone, the floor is yours.
So that would be an opportunity later on when the
That's
zoning is addressed.
Yes, that's correct. That's six. Those rezones will have their own hearings open, and you can make a comment on that individually at 6 o'clock. Thank you for coming in early.
Thanks.
Well, I just want to make sure, because the sign said 4:30.
Yeah, we had it.
4:30.
Yeah, if it was gonna be a full public comment or a public hearing.
And I don't see anyone online. So with that, we'll move on to ex parte communications and disclosures. Seeing none in the room. We can take some time for the approval of the meeting minutes. Sean graciously sent over the collection of meeting minutes that Horrocks prepared for us. Did we have any amendments to make to those meeting minutes? No?
I did take time to review them. I had no
No,
comments.
yes,
It looks like they did a nice job of updating.
Super. Thanks. In that case, I'd entertain a motion to approve those collective meeting minutes, which
I'll make a motion we approve.
motion by Jerry, seconded by Megan, all in favor? Aye. All right. And so, moving on to some quick presentations, I just wanted to present to the planning commission correspondence memoranda that we got from the Grand County Attorney's Office regarding the use of cell phones and passing notes. The full text of the memo is, I don't feel like we really need to go through the whole thing, but it is good and wise guidance from the county attorney's office, letting us know that obviously we should not be conducting any business that relates to planning and zoning matters while we're in the open meeting in on a cell phone or a text message or a note, which by definition is not an open form of correspondence. And so I, have family and we all do. And so while our personal devices are on, I think per the attorney's guidance, it would be good practice for us, kids that's sick, missed the late bus from football practice, whatever that is, just let us know, hey, I need to take a personal phone call, so that's ready for the record. When we hear that, and you can step outside and handle that and then come back in. I think that's the best way to handle that.
And years ago, Summit County got, kind of dinged on this with county commissioners that were doing the zone change. And they had this attorney from New York that came with all his bow tie and all that kind of stuff and everything. And, one of the commissioners put his hand over his mic and said to the next one, "Can you believe that guy's tie? It's so weird, right?" Well, then they got hit with, that they were communicating about a zone change when they were actually just making comments about the guy's tie, so it's kind of interesting.
It is, it speaks to public perception and fiduciary trust we have to handle the business in the right way. And so, yeah, I think that's good guidance. And if you guys have any questions, ask me directly about that.
And maybe I'll check with Stephen as well, because I know that that the laws have changed where if I use my personal phone for Grand County business, then everything that's on my personal phone could be grammable,
Yeah.
right?
To my
And so-
knowledge, that is why I have to, so.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing as well. And then I don't know if that impacts any of the planning commission members, if they're getting and receiving agendas and things on their phone, or if it's only for, staff people. So I'll check with Steven on that and see what he.
Good to know about computers too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would, having been grammared so many times, I would think that the grammar request would indicate specifically which kind of files are going to be requested. And the agencies which handle the grammar do retain the rights to ask for the request to be narrowed. So,
right.
yeah, there is that part. So. That was just that one presentation, and then, next, guys, what do you think? I know, we just skipped citizens to be heard, but our next comment period won't be until 6 o'clock, and I imagine the rest of this not taking until 6, and I imagine Judy may have a comment for us. Can we go back to citizens to be heard? Maybe just like burn a little bit.
Yeah.
Super. So we'll reopen the citizens to be heard at 4:39. And do you guys have any comments to make that don't regard the Lavina subdivision, McMurdy 80 or Bates 310?
Yeah, I didn't do my homework, but I do have one comment that I was just saying to him and Dudley. And I don't know how much influence you guys have, but I am a member of the Housing Authority Board, which doesn't mean I'm coming here representing them. But at our meeting the other day, we did discuss the amount of building that's going on right now. And I think there's more than people may be aware of. There's three LIHTC builds going on, plus, you know, we do, geez, my brain has been not very good. We do the self-help and a lot of other things. And it just seems like it would be nice if we could really categorize or catalog those builds to see how much we really need to be doing, because I am concerned about the spot zoning. Especially when we start looking at, I mean, there's 3 LIHTC builds going on right on Mill Creek and the highway. And it does seem like a lot of rentals are not renting. And so I would like that consideration of what's going on.
Thank you, Judy. And-
May I respond to her or something?
No, actually,
Okay,
but
I'll wait till my report.
Yeah.
Yes,
I will encourage everyone on the planning board, if the citizen comments got your ears perked up, the Grand County Housing Subcommittee and the Grand County Housing Task Force are actively working on cataloging and indexing the status and quantity of units in the pipeline. That is business being handled at the task force and subcommittee levels. And if you guys are curious about those numbers, they exist, they're cataloged, and the agencies are working on getting them into a more variable database type format. So that work is happening.
What's your last name, Judy?
Powers.
Powers.
All right, so next up, bouncing around a little bit, but I would like to introduce Andrew Jackson,
Howdy.
our new planning and zoning director and land use administrator. I'll give the floor to Andrew, but I think we all know him at this point.
Yeah, it's my first day officially on the job, so still trying to get some of the passwords and those things all set up for the software and that you usually have. Just maybe a little bit of background. I grew up in central Illinois, came out to Utah when I was a junior in high school. My mom was gonna move out. So I came out to see what it was like before she moved out. She decided not to move, so I stayed with a friend's family and graduated from Orem High. Went to Fiji on the mission and lived in Hawaii for a couple of years, but other than that, I guess, and then after I graduated from BYU with bachelor's and master's in geography of assistant planning, I went down to Las Vegas and worked down there for about 3 or 4 years at the county zoning department and then also the transportation commission, and then came back up and was the planning director for Linden City for about 4 years, and then I've worked the last 27 as with Mountain Land Association of Governments, so it's just like Southeast Association of Governments that you have here. I worked up from being a circuit rider planner, going around to small communities, helping them with their general plans and impact fees and those kind of things, and then just worked my way up to being the executive director for about half the time that I was there. In the last 3 years, I worked for Horrocks. Then after I got hired, they got bought out by a company that wanted to focus more on large infrastructure projects and the engineering associated with that. And so I've kind of been helping some of these small communities around that had contracts with Horrocks, just kind of as a favor to the community, helping them with some of the planning and that. And then, of course, I've been working here for about 6 months, and today's my first day, and I've got a place I'll be renting December 1st. So I'm all ready to go, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any of those. I did go back and get an MPA about partway through my career, so I've got those kind of things, whatever that's worth, I don't know. And then I also did have some questions just about some processes at some point with the planning commission, so.
I'm happy to open that discussion now if you'd like. We've got some time to go.
Okay, yeah, and I had emailed you earlier, so, I don't know, because I don't know the history, Mary has, a grasp of what that history is. So we're trying to determine on public hearings, so I guess one would be, we have the public hearing at 6 because we want people to be able to get off work and come in. If that begs the question, then if we don't have very many items, we don't have items prior to that, is that something that we'd want to move the start time to 5:30, either on those days or continually, but I know some folks have kids or things like that, they gotta get taken care of, and you know how that is. So I don't want to encroach on anybody's time there, but just wondering if that's something we could look at.
I'd be-
Open to
I'd be open to that, absolutely.
Me too.
I do want to like remind us that when we open a public hearing, that public hearing stays open for 10 days, I believe. It's
And that's also another question, because it doesn't say in the land use code that I could find, and it's also not in state code.
Well, the planning commission, when I was
Sure.
there, and I've never known the planning commission to hold their public hearing open
Yeah.
for 10 days.
Okay,
Because they don't make the decision.
right, that's the same
Are the
choice I had, yeah.
commission. So and that's only been in policy for maybe 10 years. It's not-
Okay, as a practice, you just open it up, take public comment at the meeting, make your decision, close it, make your decision, that gets forwarded on, but there's not a 10
They
day.
don't make their decision for 10 days. The planning commission.
You're just making recommendations, so, okay.
I misunderstood that. I thought we were open.
I mean, you can say it, because we've got it clear to the county council, so it doesn't matter, it's there, it's just not in the code.
Okay.
And on time. Yeah, I'm fine to start it later. Also, I mean, especially if, and having a consistent time though, I think is important. So whether a hearing or not, if hearings are gonna start at 6, it'd be maybe 5:30 would be a time to start meetings.
To get minutes out of that and everything like that, and then get into the public hearing at 6.
I'm okay with that, 5:30.
Yeah, it's good by me, Andrew.
Get with it, everybody else?
Super.
Okay, so,
The only comment I have to say about the public hearing opening, and maybe I can just clarify this with Stephen is. So, and I'll say I've been kind of in this debate with Dana about this. So we used to, in our packets, always had all the public comments, and now we don't. And I'm kind of like, where did they go? So there's that. What she did say was, if she were to try to put those comments in, she wants them within those public hearing windows, right? Because Alicia was always really good about, she'd put it in till the very last minute, right? So.
still 10 days.
Yeah, I guess, so if I can clarify that, then I can kind of push on her to put those back in the packet, because I do think it's relevant to have them in the packet, because we have comments just coming in all the time, and I don't know if commissioners are processing. Like, okay, there was 44 comments that came in, right? If you have them in that packet, it's like right there.
Right, but they were always needed to be in,
Yeah,
because that's part of the public process.
Correct.
I
It's the
agree.
Public note or public hearing
Yeah,
people putting their comments in.
so that has not been happening.
I think also one of the things that we can do that when we do the notice of the public hearing, and say that it's at 6 o'clock on whatever, but we notify that, we put that out 10 days.
Yeah.
In advance, but we can also say that people can make comments during that 10-day period before the meeting, and then we can have that in your packets, right, or whatever.
That would be consistent with the way I'm used to doing it. When I'm in an administrative role and I'm doing that, that's how I do it.
Well,
Well, how do the comments from, because if we're not opening that public hearing, how do the comments from planning and zoning get to the county commit, like if someone comes here for public comment?
In the
Do
in the
the-
minutes of the,
Okay.
Yeah, and then we forward it because it still goes on to a public hearing at the county commission level, and they keep it open for the 10 days. So we forward that fall recommendation.
If they can make those comments and they're in process here, no longer job. And those public comments are generally taken note, and then they're sent on to the county council, but the other ones that come in along with that, county
Should be in the
commission
packet.
also gets all of those. We never missed any that I could remember, because they were always, even the ones that were written back in the day, because we did a lot of writing, we didn't do this kind of stuff. Those written ones are always included in the packets for the.
Yes, so we've had a little gap where we're not getting them in the packet, so I can now, we can solidify that.
super. Well,
And then I guess,
any other
So-
questions for Andrew? Or
Just one thing, Andrew, congratulations and welcome aboard.
thank you,
Absolutely.
everybody's been so great to work with here. It's just wonderful, and do you have any preferences on the staff report packets and when you want to have those emailed to you, or how you want them? Is there any certain things you want in there? Do you want the public notice? Do you want the ordinance? Just want the staff report?
this is simply a personal thing for me. If it works on your schedule and your timeline, and I don't know how the administrative workflow goes handling all these things as they come up. But if we were able to get those staff reports into the minutes on a business day, a Thursday or a Friday.
Okay.
Because that's just enough time to like get into the office or get into the library and like oftentimes I am nowhere with Wi-Fi on the weekend.
Right,
And so I would spend
Sure.
time reading or something like that.
okay,
I always thought it was policy that they had to be, your packet had to be available to the planning commission. The council packet also has to be available within 5 days of the meeting.
okay.
And I don't know where that is, but when
I mean, we can
In
send
the-
it whatever you want.
In the
so.
commission's governing policies and procedures, it's 6 days, which we obviously don't do, but it is in there. It is in
Okay,
there.
and ours
Yeah.
was 5. I
Yeah.
remember ours was
Yeah.
5.
Okay, yeah, and I can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great if it's done. Yeah.
I like that. That's a huge improvement, just to know what we're walking into and
Right,
Yeah, it's nice to have them.
Right.
Any other questions for Andrew? We're good, all right. Well, in that case, we'll move on to the county commission update. Brian and Trish, do you guys have a preference? Who goes first, guys?
Go ahead, Trish, my apologies.
Okay, it's okay, it's okay. So this is the minutes from, or it was just general notes from the November 18th. So we did move to support a loan for affordable housing on 1581 Mill Creek. This was a Garn, Red Rock, and 22 Communities development. We did pass this, and I'm just saying it, we passed it with no documentation in place. So what I mean by that is, we had no loan agreement. And this kind of goes to what Judy was talking about, and I'll state that really quick, that I agree. I think it would behoove us, because we did fund a study for a little over 15,000 to kind of, you see where we're at, right? Like how much, what housing is coming, what's in the pipeline. And so I do think it would behoove us to, you know, get the results of that study anyways, that's just my opinion. But anyways, that did pass 4-2 with Hadeen and McGann in opposition and Hadler abstaining. We had an ordinance approving the final plat for Metter. This passed 5-2 with Hadeen and McGann in opposition. I just want to state on that one, and I do think there was quite a bit of confusion going on. That was a legal error, should have been approved by resolution. All final plats are by resolution, which memorializes commission decisions, not ordinances, which creates law. This should come back before the commission as a resolution. And so hopefully that will take place. There was an ordinance text amendment to 6.5.5A4 freestanding sign, and that passed unanimously. There was an ordinance rezone for parcel 02-035-0001 rural residential to small lot residential. This is the Novak rezone. Hadeen made a motion to deny that. McCurdy made a motion to postpone, and this was sent back to the planning and zoning director. I will state that I did quite a bit of research over the weekend. And what I have found, and Stephen did confirm this, is that if we are backing up and making modifications to evidence, right? In the manner of, let's say, Novak, and I think the ask was that there was a traffic study, that would then inspire substantive, I can't say that word today, discussions, and that would then you would have to back up and reopen all public hearings. The one thing that I will state, and this is a little squirrely, I'm just gonna state it out loud. I did go back to, I believe, the Novak public hearing was in June for here, and then September for September for, I guess, the county commission, public hearing. And the materials in the packet actually changed between those two. So then I would actually surmise that you'd have to start over anyways, because we changed the evidence. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Okay. And Stephen did confirm that, so
Would you, does that mean the public hearing back at the planning commission
Yep.
again? Okay,
all of it, I
'cause-
think it has to
Okay.
you gotta start over.
Sure, I know that
Yeah.
there was my final report for
Yeah,
December 16th county commission meeting, so.
yeah.
we'll-
So, yeah, so
And then
maybe
in-
get together with Stephen, and I think we gotta scratch it and start over. If
And,
that's what the county commission wants.
you
is
know, and
to have it-
I was kind of looking at that too, doing research with the general plan, because it isn't in conformity with the general plan, I guess. Okay, so scratch that, this part, right? Well, let's just say generally, the general plan that was done, the Spanish Valley Land Use Plan, they didn't look at adequate public facilities when that was done, at least when I've talked with Thomas, with the consulting firm. And so that kind of makes it to where it's, I guess, more of a guideline, just generally with the general plan and those future land uses, which may or may not be ripe today. It may be a 10-year or 15-year, just generally with general plans. So I want to try and get something where we can make sure that we've got adequate public facilities, water, sewer, roads, all that.
Well, yeah, I did reach out to, and I don't mean to be, I'll just let it be your job, but I did reach out to the Cody McKinney today and TJ Brewer regarding just access, and there would have to be massive infrastructure in place to be able to move, because when you talk about rezoning, and I understand we're not really getting into development, but you're not only stating like, okay, 150 homes, you're really saying 300 homes, because they're all used by right and ADU, right? So yeah, I think that one's gotta go back and start over. There's a lot of concern.
I will suggest we stop that conversation.
I agree.
and
I'm sorry.
That we're not prejudicial.
I agree,
before the
I
public
agree with
is
that,
open.
so, yeah. And then we had an ordinance with the Waterwise landscape that passed unanimously. Some just other things that I think will be relevant to you. We passed a Jones and DeMille, Spanish Valley Drive, right-of-way services. They just need a little bit more money to be acquiring those right-of-ways. That passed unanimously. And we did have a stormwater and sidewalk project for Jackson Street Phase 2 in Holyoke. And that passed. We took 876,000 out of a pocket of money that we do have to have for just stormwater mitigation, and that passed unanimously. And then lastly, I am pushing to increase the ask for the land use code update, because I think we put in there, I can't remember, maybe 90K, 80. I asked to increase that by quite a bit, because I think we would all agree that we don't want to piecemeal an update. We want a holistic update, and I think a holistic update is gonna be quite a bit more than 80 grand.
I
So,
do too.
okay,
There hasn't been one less than 120.
right, okay, so yeah, I asked to maybe try to get it bumped up to a couple hundred grand. Good, so.
Obi, you had a comment?
Where does that stand? The hiring somebody on that, I mean, has it been a year and a half now almost?
For what? Since
The,
the last,
RFP.
yes,
well, I think now that Andrew's in place, we could start working with Andrew, making
it
sure.
would be just wonderful
Yes,
to
it
get
would be
some of that in
wonderful.
place,
it
help
would
with
be-
decisions.
Yes. Okay, I think, do you want to add anything to that?
No, that's fine. I
Okay.
don't need to put my personal opinions on.
Well, the time is 5 o'clock. We've ran through the agenda. As yet, we don't have any discussion items. We could, pretty unconventional. We could bump up future considerations. Talk a little bit about what we expect to see
Yeah.
coming in the next 2 months.
Mhm.
To fill a little bit of time, to start there. And so, for future considerations, the one on my mind is, new appointments of planning commissioners is coming up. I believe that it is, myself and Laura Long and Mary, you, right? Speaking for myself, I will not be, running isn't the right word, I'm applying again for the planning commission. And so, are we still accepting nominations?
Yeah, we received several, and I'm not sure when they close, but it's open now.
Oh, excellent.
I thought we had to have interviews by the end of December.
And so we should be scheduling those interviews with the planning commission here. We'll, in the next 2 meetings, we'll be, probably 4 or 5 interviews. And Andrew, you and I should put our heads together and figure out the exact, how we want to conduct the interview process. Or we have the old process in place, but we'll run it down with you.
Monday is the 8th, right? We'll do Monday. The one after that is the 22nd.
Yeah.
And we've in the past considered not doing that meeting. I don't know if we're gonna consider.
Yep.
We maybe ought to have that discussion now if we're going to cancel it, because we had a lot going on in December, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know, if we will. Given the volume of things. I'm open to the discussion about canceling the December 22nd meeting, but I'm not. Jumping at the bill.
And there is also a possibility that you can have a extra special meeting.
Yeah.
Lots of times it's for emergency situations, but if it's just, you're not gonna have a quorum or whatever, and you give ample notice, you can still do that for things like this.
Do you make recommendations on the same day that you have done previously the interviews, or do you need 2 separate days?
No, I think usually haven't we,
Some boards
It's
that I've been
conducted
on, some
same
boards
day.
I've been on have done it the same day. They
Yeah,
did
yeah.
interviews
we
and
do it
then
the
made that
same-
recommendation. the same day.
Yeah. Yeah, they're quick.
Okay, I wasn't sure how
Yeah,
this
we've
worked.
9 or 10, it's, 5 interviews. And then I don't believe that it's like prescribed in our bylaws, but like do like a ranked choice thing to make the voting happen more quickly. Or however we choose to do that. We'll talk with Andrew and figure out the exact stuff. Other future considerations, Andrew?
Just again, if you
Yeah,
think about anything that you want with the changes, also, we need to approve, I guess it would be at the 8th, then we need to approve the schedule for
Yes.
next year and the meeting dates for next year and adopt those so that they can be posted and everything by the end of the year. And then I guess if we want to change that time to 5:30,
Yeah.
we can do that with that as well.
And that would start in January, right?
Yeah. Mhm. Oh, and I'm also putting together kind of a spreadsheet or a table that will be able to hand out to people and if someone comes in, they want to do development, they know that they have to have it in on this day in order for it to be considered at this planning commission meeting and this county commission, and then that re-hearing again at the next county commission, depending upon the land use type. So in addition to the meeting dates for next year, I'll also have that, but it doesn't take any action item. It's just
Yeah.
so you've got that.
That'll
In
be
case
really
somebody
good.
says, hey,
Cool.
I want to have this on, or I'm closing on this property on such and such a date. Well, they have to back up, and this is when they would need to submit an order if everything is in place and complete before they could have that
Isn't that in
decision.
the land use code already? You
Um,
have like, you had to have it in and approved within 2 weeks of the meeting, so that you could go over it and it can meet the DRTV and all that.
yeah, I haven't seen that. I know there's with the change in the subdivision requirements by state law that was adopted last year. There's things where you have to.
Yeah.
There's a review cycle and only a number of review cycles and that you can do on those, but
Over in the vesting section.
okay,
You might check where, I
Sure,
should,
perfect.
it used to
Yeah.
be 2 weeks, just to give staff time to go over everything.
yeah.
And that includes roads and all the utilities.
Mhm.
Took me a second to pull up my calendar. Do we want, I know it's tough putting them back to back, but would we be interested in rescheduling the December 22nd regular meeting a week up to December 15th?
Just maybe one other recommendation. So the Economic Development Board had quite a few applicants. What they did is they actually had a meeting the day before for applications. So they did half of their applications, like for us, it would be on the 7th.
Hmm.
We would do half of our applications on the 7th, and then on the 8th, we would do the other half of the applicants. And then if that's the crunch that you're looking at in there.
Yeah, I don't have a problem having a special meeting on the 7th just to do applications. I won't be able to be there. I'm traveling that day, but
That's a Sunday.
The Sunday,
It's
yeah, the
eight.
7th is a Sunday.
or yeah, the 9th.
Yeah,
Anybody be opposed to having a special session on the 9th?
do we have the number of applicants that would require a special meeting?
Sean told me we have 8 or 9.
Oh, it's a pretty good list.
Yeah, that's the most I've seen. Normally we have 3 or 4.
It seems like it would be best if we didn't split them, since
Can do
if we
one,
end up
It'd be
doing
nice
it.
to have one meeting.
one special meeting where we only talk about that. Talk about
Yeah.
cross-
Yeah, I'd rather not split them. I think it'd be too easy to forget what
Right.
somebody.
agree. Does anybody, I don't know if we need to vote on that, or,
What time at 4:30? I could do 4:30 on December 9th, but not.
Yeah.
I got a thing at 6.
okay, if you have a thing at 6 and we have 9 people to get through, can you do it at 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 on the 9th? Cool.
Okay.
Let's, I'll pencil that in there.
It's the symptoms
Just-
communication, right?
We're gonna probably have to use a different room, just looking at it.
Hmm.
There's a NCAP board meeting on the
Oh
ninth.
geez, thank you.
So,
And we could see if conference room 3 at the Grand Center is available.
There's also rooms available in the
What's,
library.
what is that?
MTAB is on the ninth.
We could even do it the Monday after. Push it out to
Pick another
the
day.
15th like you originally mentioned.
Yeah, she's from,
I'd like
you
the,
know, or just move the 22nd meeting to the 15th and.
Plus,
Oh,
10, 11.
Sure, we're gonna do
It's a
it.
big group.
We don't know what we're gonna do then. We're just gonna let people talk.
We're still trying to figure it out.
Calendar open.
Yeah, me too.
also meet in planning and zoning in that. In that room,
Oh, yeah.
that's a good room.
Nice room in there.
We fit in there. They have a nice conference room in planning and
I
zoning.
won't be able to make the ninth, then we'll have to split between the two meetings.
Well, in that case, let's, what about the 15th?
Good.
15th?
We're great doing interviews.
Yeah, let's call them 10 interviews on the 15th at 4:30 in the planning and zoning conference room. Cool.
And
30?
you want me to post something about the cancellation of the, you know, the
Yeah,
22nd?
we probably should.
Everybody's in agreement with that, okay?
Maybe have to.
Where's that gonna be?
Sorry.
4:30.
Which room?
So in the
Oh,
planning,
planning and zoning, they've got a conference room over there.
Is it 4:30?
4:30. Yeah, that's nice. We're all fit.
Yeah,
That's the applicants, I mean, especially if the applicants are coming and going.
It also gives them someplace to sit outside the building.
Yeah, yeah.
so Andrew, will you send out a meeting notice for that?
Mhm.
I guess for future considerations, and this isn't necessarily, I just kind of want to have you, Andrew, get it on. I think it would be good for the three of us to meet regarding the land use code, and four of us to meet regarding the land
Sure.
use code update, how to move forward with that.
Good.
Cause we did talk about this idea, and this is just a discussion, I mean, I won't get into it now, but, you know, could you have a single source is what you would have called it, right, where we've already had CBZ, and can we just continue with them? Would that make sense? And so anyways.
Okay, great,
And I
yeah.
guess maybe even Stephen, we could
Yeah,
have Stephen in on
yeah.
the discussion.
Maybe just, sorry, 1 second, going
Yes,
back to
okay.
where we were just at, might wanna give, comm admin a date on when you guys want the last interviews in. Or last applications, when we wanna close the applications. Because I just looked through, I didn't see any,
Is it not?
it's not,
Described?
there's no close on the application, so you probably should.
That's why.
Have that
That's
listed.
December
That's
31st.
public policy through you guys, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's an
administrative.
Is it? Okay.
It's a little sticky too.
So does it have to go before county commission before January?
No, I think,
Okay.
well, I think we have to fill the board, or fill it, I think it's on the first commission meeting of.
Of the
I think
new-
that's what it is, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure our meeting timing was cohesive when you're moving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will be as long as we make up our mind that day.
That's the plan anyway.
Oh, that's
Um,
the closure.
Yeah, that's normally just automatically announced. Maybe it was implied and written down, but just not a part of the announcement.
Yeah, I'll just check in, I just didn't know if there was a closing date that we.
What else was I just had something on the tip of my tongue. Oh, regarding, scheduling and the 4 people and 3 possible, seats up for renewal. The reason why we do 3 at a time is so that we can always still carry a quorum when that's the reasoning behind doing 3 at a time and not 4 at a time or everyone at a time. We can, if for whatever reason they're filled, but people, it's January, they're traveling, or, you know, county commission hasn't made up their mind, or whatever, we will still be able to do our business with a quorum.
And I guess with that, if you're not pursuing reapplication, maybe at that 15th meeting, you pick a new chair. I don't know, so there are any place.
No, that's.
No.
First, the new commission.
Chair-
elects the
Yeah, we,
first.
we both.
Full meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the first order of business of the year. Oh, man. I'm gonna be in Toto Santos, Mary.
I remember right, there's a,
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but there's a procedure for planning commission that's been written. You remember what that's called?
Bylaws?
The bylaws, and that actually is in the bylaws.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
It's probably worth taking a look at that.
The bylaws were revised in 2019 was the last time we.
I think we made a change this year.
Yeah, I think we revise
Yeah.
it each year.
I was on,
Okay,
it was like
Yep.
the meeting after we elected chair, cause I was part of that.
fun.
Year went by fast.
Let's see. Well,
Tony, one other thing, I just wanted to thank you for the reminder about the trail management plan, which is in the next meeting,
Yeah.
right?
yes, the travel management public hearing will be on December 8th. That one is, we chose that day specifically because it's happening concurrently with the city's planning and zoning review. And so,
Yes.
just as a reminder, we're not making, comments on the travel plan as the planning commission body. We're basically opening the public hearing specifically in regard to the ways that that travel plan will amend the ordinances in the land use code. Set, and all that stuff. That's the specific thing.
And the general plan.
And yes, the general plan.
Yes.
And the land use code changes that will come from this travel management plan, so.
So they have to reopen the.
It'll be-
Or is it just an amendment?
It would be basically. An amendment.
And so we'll have to open that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a public hearing. The text is redlined already, and then, it's happening concurrently, so both the city and the county. And then the city council and the county commission, the following meeting will approve or ratify that amendment.
And then they've also, with the future land use map for Spanish Valley. And, it's kind of got these blobs in there, and I know that was kind of on purpose, and people talked about that and wanting to have some of that freedom. It does cause a little bit of an issue if we're trying to determine if something is compliant with the general plan, because there's few streets and there's no lot lines, and so I have had Horrocks did a snapping where they take that blob and they've actually snapped it to property lines. So it takes kind of that guesswork, and it's a form-based, what you've got is a form-based general plan map. And that's good if you have a lot of staff that can look at designs and architects and look at it and say, add a tree over here, no, move it back over there, whatever, right? But we don't have that availability, so we're looking more at the traditional general plan where you are looking at the different properties and trying to snap those. So that, if that goes forward, and I've got a copy of it, I can send out to you to look at, but it would require going through public hearing process to amend that map so it snaps to those, so.
Andrew,
I think that's a good idea, as, it was a stylistic choice,
Mhm.
and that really was what it amounts to. Is a graphical stylistic, thing, for the record. The snapping analysis doesn't change the zoning on it, just, makes the graphical representation of that zone more clearly defined, particularly in areas that have setbacks or are adjacent to road rights of way, things like that. It changes the fuzzy cloud
Right.
into a discrete solid one.
Andrew, it was my understanding that as we go through the land use code updates, we
Exactly.
take another look at that, because some of
Right.
those uses were not even really defined.
Right,
Absolutely
exactly.
not.
Yeah.
Most of them weren't, so there's, I
Kind
think
of was
it's,
the expectation, we would get that snapping analysis done when we went from future land use map to.
right,
Yeah,
yeah. So we put that future land use map out there knowing that there was more work to be done.
yes,
Perfect.
right,
Okay.
right.
Yep.
One of the things that happens with the snapping is that it allows you to look at the different general plan designations. And you know what the acreage is now, because you couldn't tell what the acreage, unless you, I guess. Euclidean geometry or something, we can figure out the area of but this will at least give you an idea what the acreage is and what that density could be, and what the future population could be associated with that.
Since we're kind of like adjacent to the topic of the land use code update. I would advise, I've not yet seen the draft RFP for the consultants, but I would want us to make sure at the administrative and county commission level that there, whatever that budget is, there is enough of a line item to account for consultant travel and attendance at public meetings, because that was always a big intention when we got into taking that future land use map and then going kind of like lot by lot and saying, is this where we want the line? Do we want it to be red or yellow? Conducting those public meetings and the materials that go along with it, just you know, a Subaru Outback full of easels and cork boards and printing fees and you know, the cost of venues can add up pretty quick. And so if we just, on the RFP, it says, you know, just prepare the plan and we don't have a line item in there for public engagement, public meetings. Yes,
And there was significant public engagement with the land use map though.
yeah, there was, and it's, I think in my memory, back when we did that future land use map, we were fairly adamant in promising folks that like, this is just a preliminary map. And you'll have a public meeting when we finally
Right.
get into, like,
Yeah.
this is your new
Exactly.
zoning.
Yeah.
Because you included it actually in one of the exhibits of one of the rezones. There's that flow chart that sort of translates the old key terminology into the new key terminology, and that one can be, you know, changing terminology could confuse people.
But tell me if I'm off base in stating that, to me, that map just doesn't hold a lot of water, because it doesn't have. Right, the updated land use code, I mean, all the terminology on that map doesn't exist.
It doesn't,
Right.
and that's the hardest part about this, Jim,
Yep.
the map right now.
Right.
We don't have, it's only a guideline, we
Right.
don't have any teeth to it.
Right.
And the teeth is the the land use code.
Right.
Without our teeth, we're just all out there
Right, it's
trying to
fuzzy.
figure it out.
Yeah, so the
That's
map
right.
is like your road map, and then the land use code is your vehicle.
Right,
That takes you there, right? But
right,
with the, like the, multifamily 45s, that's even listed in that general, I think the highest density is maybe like 18
Mhm.
units per acre, so you have to modify the general plan in order to have that in the zoning code, to have the 45.
And I was curious, I'm glad you brought that up, and that was one of the things. Do we have a timeline for when that general plan, I know that we spoke about how the general plan update and the land use code update are going to be happening concurrently. What's that timeline look like now?
For the updating the general plan and the new land use code.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think it was discussion like this time, like 2025, right?
yeah,
But I think it can happen by 2026.
okay,
What I really want to focus on is just making it user friendly, so people don't have to have an advanced degree to determine where they can put their shed, right? And we talked about that, about the charismatic megafauna that who we see in the national parks, right? And you can see there's a deer and elk, right? So that's one of the things I want to look at, is just making sure that it's simple, easy, usable, all that. Try to take as much discretion out of it as possible, because that's when you start getting to issues when it's like, well, you did this for so-and-so, but you didn't do it for this one.
Yep.
So trying to get a lot of that discussion discretion out of it and to make it so it's, I've got some graphic ideas and things like that that I've used in other places that make it easy then for people to tell what can go on their property, what can go on their neighbor's property.
Super.
Try to think that far ahead. Anything, any other future considerations?
I can do Little Red Riding Hood and Pigeon. Oh, time gets old, so it might be.
Well, we always have the option, it's 5:22. We can always recess for a half an hour and reconvene at 5:50. Aaron seems. Yeah. Maybe he's-
Stay with us, bud. Doing so good.
Towards the light.
All right, so, we will reconvene here at, 5:50 to give us a little bit of time to make sure that we're online and the mics are working and everything like that. And be advised, folks, while we were in recess, while we're still in the room, the mics are still on the record. So please be, on your best behavior if you're staying in the room. There is a quorum of us here, so we're not talking about planning and zoning business during a recess. Yeah, just a friendly reminder, all that stuff. All right. Super. Thank you, guys. See you in a bit. Yeah. I had just a little bit of clarity, Andrew, in my own life. Just a little bit of bandwidth. I would have suggested the 5:30 thing a lot sooner,
Yeah.
but it just went right over 5. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, I think we're good.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
That was a good meeting earlier today, wasn't it?
that was enlightening. That
Oh, no, I'm not.
So I like hearing Gene talk off as often as I can.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yep, so far.
So I'm not planning and zoning related, but now my DNR match, welcome as a new planning and zoning director. And there are two things that
Did you get the email?
you and I will probably be working on
I
together
texted it.
here in the next couple of months.
So,
Once, I know Sean has already picked up that ball, but we're amending an easement that the county holds on state lands in the Highway 128 corridor. Very simple, just including an additional meets and bounds description under the easement area. And if you guys, that easement amendment is going to go up to the county commissioner. Well, first things first, the county has to apply for the easement, that application. If you guys want me there to explain anything during the meeting, let me know. And the second one is coming down the pipe, is same bike path. But all the way up on the other side, by Rapper State Park, they're going to be extending that bike path. And UDOT's doing all the work, but then they turn over the custody of that easement to Grand County. And that extension, because it doesn't exist at all yet, it doesn't have any right of way permitting for it, so we'll have to establish a new side of it for that bike path. It's the same process. I'll walk you through it when you get there. We just had a very like orientation meeting for you guys to get down the pipeline, like, hey, we're gonna build a bike path, and I'm like, okay, that's great. But we do have to, sign some documents before we can start. It's actually.
Good world
But I-
stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna take for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Local taxes. 5 letters. Next thing you know, there's a.
Stuff.
Like, wait a second.
Yeah. So that's actually a good thing for you to bring up as we like meet and discuss the
No.
And because it's in a state park.
Yeah, that's what this was.
Yeah, I actually asked the regional city parks manager, Mike, Megan, same year, I was like, Megan, if we had. If Utah Raptors, everything which took over to this section, I like that, if you were the custodian of it, because then I don't have to do any more. They already have general permitting on that section of. The state is actually the landowner in some ways. They run it hard, I am the title guy, so we've already got that permitting. For all of their.
Yeah.
We didn't have a choice, they didn't want to take over, it was legal, and so I'll have to.
Well, that's what I mean.
Inside of that. Like either right of way, they don't have the fee simple title to do that. Yeah, that's, thank you, see,
Yeah.
that's.
Some of those things happen.
Yep. All right.
No, I make too much, and I have too many assets. Okay. Let's go buy a house. Oh, I was there, so I had.
So you were, are you
I was like, I had.
in the office now?
Yes, yeah.
Seven.
Dave, just to see and say hi,
Yeah.
talk to you about
That's
stuff.
eight.
And I.
Yeah, I'm-
That's what I was like, nothing under six.
Thursday and tomorrow, and then,
So.
I'm gonna have Wednesday off and be back up in,
Oh, yeah.
but then,
I already talked to you today.
okay, December 1st, I will be Monday through Friday. So during the holidays, there may be some times I won't be there, but we- yeah, Monday through Fridays for the
Yeah,
start
and-
first.
I went to two,
Something,
Sure.
I just went out.
right off.
I'm old, I like to take.
Oh, okay.
Here's where. So it says.
Oh, under the decision,
Yeah.
And these like.
decision making bodies, okay.
Eight one.
Down below.
Picking up the section on,
Those are some.
health, because we used to require people to give us 2 weeks. And a lot of it is because we had to go over everything. And our 5-day, and this might not be something that you talked about too, but,
Well,
the
you're
reason why we had the 5 day before.
trying to get closer.
It was all paper,
Literally.
so, you know, I have to get it all organized, put together.
Copy, mailed out or taken with it. Yeah.
My favorite people always up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
there
like
is.
their
so,
houses,
yeah.
I built houses.
Anyway, and I'll look it up, I think it's, I
Come
can't
take a look.
remember where it is exactly,
It's
because
less
I
than this.
remember,
Okay.
Sure.
I've been out of this book for a long time.
Yeah, and you know, there's kind of like a,
And.
needs to be a little no contact period
Walks out.
where,
This house.
like, okay, you submitted this. I don't wanna see some change the night before or something like that, right? So, once it's here, it's, if you wanna change it, then we're bumping off till the next meeting.
Oh, I agree with that, too. Yeah, that was always just something, I'd always just say, it's already written, it's already done, we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how much work.
I got it. No, I'm not, but I've built enough homes in the Valley. And my first home now was so well.
Oh, was it?
Is out in Fisterburg. Oh, what is it now?
I actually pretty good thing.
The self-help subdivision.
When was this?
2010,
I don't know.
that's 15, 20 years ago.
Oh,
Okay. Swartzen Fed,
Yeah.
drive up the road, all the right hand side.
Yeah, that's right before my time. Those were my jobs, a lot of.
No, self-help. Well, some of them are modulars
Okay. Some of them are.
and then 15 or some.
Oh.
People sweat at me, USDA.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That's what I honestly was. One of the cement pads first thing.
No,
I didn't know.
that's one thing I
But
love.
that was the,
That's
that's the
one
day.
thing I love about this program, is that people will learn to learn how to feel with certain people, they can't, they try to hold it because they can't.
Yeah.
Or to keep islands and that's exactly.
Well,
Yeah, good.
I got this modular house and my wife came up with her. I put it up.
It's not warm.
I mean,
I know, as soon as that sun goes down, it's cold.
I know. That's it.
That's frost this morning.
Yeah, I live up against the rim on Dock Island. And
something's missing. 'Cause
I always, when I go home, I go up Dogwood.
This is exactly.
And so the sun's always shining on that side, and by the time you get to the north side of
I used to get
town,
to
the
the
sun's
mountains.
behind the rim and it is so cold. Like, why is the other side
you
of
got
the
beautiful-
I have the best views. I
Oh
love
my
my
God.
views so much.
Um,
It's never awesome.
In the winter.
And on,
Summer.
there's
Yeah.
a little bit of ways, maybe a mile away from Mouth Provo Canyon. Just
Okay.
right off of here.
Yep.
Anyway, you get this super strong cold wind in the mornings coming in and like all the trees in my neighborhood. This because they've been blown. Anyway. And we had some people just from Linden, they came over and doing the flag football thing and they were all freezing. Orm kids are like, well, you don't have this because they don't have
Yeah.
that cold wind that is great for
Yeah, I am.
pollution and stuff. It just cleared everything out, but it's a pretty cold
So.
wind that comes in.
And it's like
So this is.
bone chilling, frigid.
Yeah,
Nobody's. They're all like,
Yeah.
and then now you have the opposite
yeah, just fine.
direction, you know.
But it's
Yeah.
like, still need this.
Oh, no, in
Yeah.
the summer.
We don't need this.
Thing that.
We don't need this.
Starts down to chance.
We've got a lot of this.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get a lot of this.
I used to live on
Still
Menlo
need this.
Shade.
How does this?
Remember,
I thought. It's nice.
then
When they started-
I was like, but you put them right on the red rock. But it's such a good form of chip, my brother chip.
Yeah.
But we can, but we'll have to put more houses. So that's something the same thing. That's what. Okay.
Well, there's no one steps into the plate. Bill, for one, at that price point.
Exactly, they
Yeah.
go more and they.
So I said, something like this,
Yeah.
or my stepson.
Because they can rent it for.
Yeah, it's not too expensive. Super expensive.
So that's the process, so we're still not, we're not gonna do this area.
They're
I think
sending.
that's destination. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
that's it, right? You- you didn't
A lot more
really-
expensive around.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Little more PC.
Seriously. it's right.
That's under.
And it's like this, for a while, I don't know, this is. They're not having, my brother was involved, I just, decimating the last place. Short-term rentals. The short-term rental things happen everywhere, and that's really. And it's a housing stuff there. Yeah.
but that's,
So that's real.
short-term, I
But
still
we're
don't
not
see.
making
And then like.
5 years on short-term rentals here now.
Oh, we do that more.
Where they-
Okay.
But
Well, that.
I haven't seen. I was also, I was hoping that same would be good. Those short-term rental homes, that didn't happen.
I know, it's not.
I don't think it happened anywhere. I don't think it's,
Yeah. But I just know this is where we're still missing.
yeah, oh, yeah.
That's
That's,
huge.
yeah, that's. But that's also,
And I mean,
I was illegally, I'll say on record, because I've said it on the commission. I was illegally living in my girlfriend's front yard, her mom's front yard, in a camper or in a.
Whatever, yeah. Well, for a lot of people, they're, they put a dog.
And have a hard grade, and can't still get a house. I
Right,
mean,
right, everybody comes around.
that's what I was like, sure, that's one of the reasons I ran.
I don't see them, to see them.
I don't think,
Cause like you said, it's everything. Yeah.
well, the third thing, no one's talking
There's a
about
whole.
Yeah,
huge-
there's a lot.
is
What the heck on that with Bolton?
like the cottages cost that much to build. Like, I know why they're charging something like that, but it dang near costs 1,100 just in construction material for 8 years, because I have to build a map on my. I won't see a dime. For 8 years. That's to put it, just dimes to put away, in case a water heat blows up.
Yeah.
I'll make.
So it's staying the holiday.
Keep my house.
His son is gonna be with his dad.
I'm not the income for
Um,
so it's gonna be.
His dad has one sister, she only comes with her.
Yeah, you just got that.
But I won't rent it. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't.
People are gonna ask whatever they get for their house, but
So
they won't
it's
get
just
to.
gonna be on and off.
The cost of certain.
But my parents just got back. Ooh, how fun, yeah, that's the fun, so they're actually on their way back from Salt Lake right now. with that. Well, Addie will shoot that kind of a lot, I think it's, but we always alternate holiday holidays, so they said she was. Rather.
Yeah.
And the parents are Well, people really requested to have issues. That's a good idea. And then I'll do this. Yeah. They only close for Christmas. But they close it and then start shooting. So I'll still be out there. I'm lucky. I'm working this weekend. And then from that, we'll see. But the kids have all kinds of things to do this week.
Well, see, this is.
Yeah.
Everybody sits together.
Well, I told my mom, I was, they're really gonna come back from Egypt and do the things. No. Yeah. Something.
Chrissy doesn't think so. So we have to imagine he's the one. Turns out. And I'd rather be alive too, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad's. Every year. Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, maybe some haters and dressing.
Jerry's here, starting to grow. He went.
That's what I was like. Do you mean?
Since we're.
I mean, I understand.
There's other times that we can,
You know.
That's bigger. but we'll be.
And that's. That's for sure.
Just stay know.
Are you
Yeah.
from around here originally? Or-
No,
Oh,
I was born and raised in Detroit.
oh, great, great.
Don't hold that
But
against me.
my brother.
That's good.
I left there when I was 18, went to Michigan Tech, got an engineering degree there. Then I ended up taking a job in Colorado, between Colorado, Wyoming, back to Colorado, Utah, been in the last 45 years, more or less.
Were you guys doing oil or someone
Just
just?
started in oil and then I went to work for Gates Rubber Company there in Denver. Did that for 15 years. Worked for and data storage in Boulder for
Yeah.
Long holiday.
15, 20 years. Then just when I moved here, I actually was doing field engineering work for a company that made welding products. And just was on the road constantly 3 weeks out of 4.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Started my engineering career as a field engineer and I kind of ended it that way, kind of, different capacities, but still.
Same thing, you start out in zoning and now making that loop 35 years back. It's to zoning, I mean, zoning.
So I actually retired May 2nd, so I'm done now. So they're asking about my availability, well, there you go. I have a son lives in Alaska, so I plan to spend some time there with him.
No.
Other than that, vacations, it's-
I went up there to a conference for a couple of days. And ate fresh halibut the whole time.
oh, where'd you go?
Just to Anchorage.
Anchorage, yeah, my son's in Fairbanks,
Okay.
kind of a different, it's a real different culture than Anchorage. Anchorage is coastal, of course.
Yeah.
Most of the population's on the coast. Fairbanks is inland quite a while.
And so there's this issue that you saw where
The friends that.
was approved, the Wasatch Front's their quality plan,
Oh,
and
huh.
you took in that issue for 20 years. It was because of the conversions. Right?
Yeah, no, well,
And Fairbanks is the other place that gets those, right? But there's no natural gas there, right? So you can't say, oh, no wood burning stoves in Fairbanks,
it's
right?
pretty low.
And
Well, it's
so,
also 40 below for a good part of the winter,
yep,
so.
yep. And so one of the problems with us trying to get any traction with Congress or anything was just because it was along the Wasatch Front and Fairbanks.
Yeah,
Everybody else,
was
you know,
okay.
yeah, so like Chicago doesn't have their quality issues. It's
And
Buffalo No, it's all Chicago streets.
Oh, yeah.
Even summertime will do that. Summer.
Well, maybe things will change in Fairbanks now because they're talking about that gas pipeline going through. Which would be a good idea.
Yeah.
I guess the wells in Prudhoe that make gas, they must just flare.
Yeah.
Got to, right? Because there's no place to go.
So we've been seeing-
Big problem. Fairbanks basically serves the northern half or so of Alaska. My son works for an airline there called Right Air Service, and a lot of the payload that goes north goes on the planes.
Okay.
It's really funny.
And I do about it too.
I say payload, it's all, they got, they run Cessna airplanes, a lot of weight, snowmobiles, lumber, stuff like that. People,
They didn't do the same.
but it's still like you're loading us at 37.
Yeah.
But it takes.
But it's interesting,
Yeah.
She's.
so he's taken me on some of his work stuff that went, you know, like Benderford, Whole Food, and Bedwars, and a bunch of the places that are hard to reach.
Yeah. Outdoorsy and fishing and stuff.
He's out moose hunting over the weekend. He's been north, way north of the Arctic Circle to do caribou a few weeks before that. Oh, yeah. He had a trap line for
A student.
Yeah.
In the, I guess it's all I saw, but virtually like Wasilla or something.
Oh, Wasilla, yeah.
Yeah. But she lives like way out, no electricity, no running water, none of that kind of stuff. Parents were hippies. that, you know, Her dad was, her mom was a waitress in Reno. Lived up in homestead on the property.
Plus it makes it.
It was like, a good rod, something like that, but she was like.
Right.
And she,
So anyway, it just.
she complained, about her younger brothers and sisters who had the legal. You know, no, like this, completely off the grid, you know.
My son lived in Coldfoot for 3 or 4 years, and that's, well, there was, when he was there was no cell phone, there was one payphone on the wall. Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. I think Coldfoot had a population of maybe 8 or 10.
I know, it's my sister.
6-hour drive north of Fairbanks on the go.
I don't think she's got.
And you can get it in the middle of nowhere.
Well,
So
I know, and I was.
his next project is to buy a plane. It's gonna go in half. That's gonna get him access to all the villages. He wants to get to know.
Yeah.
I know, I'm not, I
And you
think,
walking across the street.
I'll probably just look that morning,
I did talk about, I got a.
Oh, when I was.
She did. Actually.
The 1920, yeah. I went to school.
I left my computer in the
Only
car.
2 years and then I.
Let's go.
5 minutes, Jared. 5 minutes.
Petticoat Fair, the fair, you know?
I know she's not.
And opinion.
South.
That's Andrew Jackson's.
Oh.
Big scandal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just read a biography. It's funny.
Yeah, I've heard that, well, I've listened to the Lionheart.
The line, yeah.
Lion, and,
I did.
it's interesting, one time, maybe it's this. Some.
There was no.
Telemarketer called.
I dropped the ball on that. Yeah.
There goes. Question. Parents,
I think
like,
she's.
fans,
I have got to add.
grandfathers on my mom's side. And they used. And that was going through the 12 months.
Yeah, yeah.
He taught it.
I think it was something.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Just like, I love when you, kind of like, he'll get sometimes he'll be like, yeah.
So sorry about that.
He's a straight shooter, man.
Yeah.
I really like that about him.
History's always be contacts.
He
You know,
doesn't
you know,
sugarcoat
like,
anything, nobody else.
you had a person that was the man of the people.
Riley.
First populist,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
That's why he's got the job,
but-
right?
You read more.
Difficult subject matter and a very like,
No.
yeah, that's true about Cody too. That guy is.
I just read a book, yeah, I like Gene Levin, you know who he is, a former
It
second.
was interesting to hear
Called
about
Born
how,
Fighting.
you know, basically.
Oh.
Flipped it upside down from one culture in August,
Yeah.
right? Everybody just worried that he missed
Just
the
how that
deadline.
culture is like
Deadline, like, it's the way you interpret
American
deadline.
And it's like, well, yeah, it's just
It's a lot of,
deadline.
it's a lot. That's a lot of Scotch and Irish.
It's not very.
On both sides.
Over and they,
And it like,
and they're paid.
it's one of those
Like,
things.
it's like,
Yeah.
they shouldn't be, and we should do this.
If
for
you
fun.
want to do more months,
Nice to
more
get-
months.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
so I had somebody,
like,
Jack inside.
it's,
Okay.
And they did that. So.
especially with something as consequential as.
Paid for something like.
Look, really take it apart, like, to find to.
Oh, yeah.
But Scotch Irish.
Uh-huh. Funny.
Well, that's the way we,
You
are arousing me.
That's how.
The way we did it in the 20s and obviously.
Yeah.
You know, that's, the whole constitution is only 3 pages long.
Yeah.
You-
Who is it that
Are
did
you
the last?
running the place right now?
guidelines?
Yes.
Yes, I'm looking.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I live down the street.
Okay, yeah. Anderson with this.
Usually after squishing.
So anyway, they've gone.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. No, that was, you said the last administrator, that was one for.
Ryan's
fine.
doing pretty darn good. How about you?
Yes.
Doing all right.
Got you up for
I was hiking with somebody the other day and they said that you used to make pretty good time up Hidden Valley to the big one.
Yeah,
Is that true?
2 hours.
yeah.
What's
They
your
were
best?
talking.
Yeah.
That's time up.
I don't remember, I didn't put time on
Well, that's it. I've noticed it.
In the days of the cell phone, I hit the timer when I'm at the sign going up. My best is less than 17.
Yeah, it was.
My youngest, or my oldest, I'm sorry, he's just raising his.
He probably runs that. thing.
95K, went down and-
Wow.
And he ran, was it 6:05?
We got
Oh
a
my,
bachelor pad. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, 16:05.
16:05.
16:05.
On a 5.
At a royal property.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I
red
just
one.
watched.
Bonnie's Lane.
Son is a big runner, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the NCAA got that, but there's
Yeah.
like, yeah, just.
No, it's.
There's, he makes a dive. Never kind of.
So nice. Used to have.
So I think that is that. But I haven't.
Yeah, yeah. And now it's my son has a wing.
This time.
And then she just.
Trying to cut you.
I think you barely.
Right.
Freshman. So anyway, you guys will have to.
Yeah.
She's like something sexy. She's solving.
Our neighbor, Josh, his daughter, Stella, he just won state, not state, whatever it is.
Yeah, for middle.
So she ran, won the middle school, two of them trained together.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I saw that.
So they all run back there on that, pipe dream tip rally. That's
Oh,
right
yeah.
back there.
Oh,
Well, I used to take my. That's all the.
It is.
There all the time. They used to.
I don't know if my knees can do Hidden Valley at that pace a whole lot longer. It just,
Do they have like inspection?
going up gets me more than going down.
What's true? It's what the Ryan and Aaron.
They're young, they can handle it.
House task force, committee meetings, they're like,
Yeah,
they've got that information.
most of my stuff's like service,
Like,
so it's like,
what,
I didn't pull a permit before.
I think they
I mean,
have.
Right.
I think
There's
they
there's
have
things
the
in the
city
code, in
information.
international building code, it's like, if you keep track all your things, that's what we did.
You did a.
So, yeah, the,
Property.
I don't exactly,
Yeah.
but essentially it boils down.
Then we stopped, so that's what we did.
Maybe.
Took them to the.
Staffing or something like that, because there's a specific software for that both the city.
Get this.
About that every meeting.
Yeah. There's specific software for that both the city and the county. And as I understand it. Well, iWorks, thank you. We just moved over there. Project. And
County is kind of like,
But so, you know how everything is sort of over there.
Bill, when he ran it, he would be like, oh, okay. you did-
We gotta go to the city to ask.
All right, is it holding there? Okay.
So there's like the data migration.
I'm getting no more.
So Lisa Sinisteros she has that ability. We did send an email.
Yeah.
Someday,
That will allow
someday they
Cory
can-
Shirtliff to
Like that
contact
backflip
Lisa and
prevention
get
stuff.
that, right,
I
so.
was talking to
And so then-
businesses and they're like, the city just.
Like she said,
bunch
Lisa
of
just said, like, this is really key.
To businesses, they're inadequate backflow.
Because
Yeah.
I think people are,
It's like,
all the buildings.
right, everyone started to up in Salt Lake.
The whole thing with
And
the
like,
hotels and it's all, I was like,
Yeah.
this is like.
Like,
ten
like,
more
like,
plus another time.
And he was like, my whole business is about checking irrigation. Up in Salt Lake, I guess you gotta get it checked every year,
Okay.
or even a residential house.
Putting it in format where it's really accepted. That's why you updated.
It's all okay. That does make sense.
And just speaking anecdotally.
And it is much more convenient to be out there in person.
Yeah.
And it is, yeah, so that it was. Whatever.
No, for me, not bad. I talked to her.
No, I told this woman.
Did you get it?
Creating.
$500.
Did I really involve
Website.
You told me I never. Oh, good. It's my, yeah, I don't think I ever read it.
Yeah.
I retired.
It's already.
My wife was really now.
Don't use too much, because that's.
Too much time suggested retirement.
That is.
Corporations and I are not.
As I
So
understand.
you want me to move out and be unhappy? Do you want me to wait till
Every time someone wants to access that data, you know.
So that she relented on that. But it, but.
At first, it's automated, that
What did it?
data automated.
I wanted to go to, wanted to go down
It's
to.
not
Mountain,
the
there's some
data
lightning
there,
games.
it's just
I'm
that
thinking,
the user.
that was in the spring.
And that's the frustrating.
And I'm thinking, how many more years? I'm 60.
Completely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Well, couldn't.
and worst case scenario, people certainly.
Insane.
There's no scale.
Yeah.
And of course,
They put out through this.
We don't, gotta figure out.
I mean,
Well, it seems like there's a little bit.
and, we have.
Well,
Community, even with this.
I'm really excited.
My son.
I bet you are.
An emergency, and the other thing is, you don't know, because you do feeling graded 75, 80, but you might only have.
Down the desert on a motorcycle.
No, that's true. Not if you're small.
No,
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm just. Just really excited. I have not
I did actually work.
gone on vacation since November of twenty twenty.
Yeah, so on.
It's been 20 months.
So the other thing that I did was.
20, almost,
decided
yeah,
I'm
20
gonna
months.
get current on my aviation.
That's what, yeah. Go screen it, haven't made up my mind.
You were just there?
What did you
Chuck
play
listed it.
Cessna 182.
Yeah.
Is that what they would say?
It's,
I like both those
225
Yeah, I don't like,
Uh-huh.
there's a,
It's good
the
to
world's
have
your oyster.
Western complex.
So that, it's. Figure it out, I guess.
Nova Santos is nice right there, but you go across over into the Sea of Cortez and do
Must be fun.
That's one of my favorite spots right there. And I got these black cobble.
Yeah, you can't.
I was-
listen to what's in it.
No.
I like
Dinner
I like the vibe there a lot.
in
Nova Santos.
Boulder, Utah.
Oh, yeah. Boulder, Utah.
Yeah, and they had a airstrip actually. And he flew to work cell phone back and forth. But he, then we had dinner with them,
Section with all of their little art gallery.
and by the next morning, he and one of his
So
guests,
yeah,
I've been there for 15
they
years
had
and I
put
thought
up
it
a
was
new
pretty
wires
neat.
across
Yeah.
something that hadn't yet put the bulbs kind of thing on them. They just.
I'd like to avoid the.
And ran into-
On a vibe.
Well, then it's-
But it is a-
But he was gonna, he was
It's built. in
taking.
America.
I told you about.
So they had another, they had a couple of people in staying with, maybe it was a, yeah, the day before.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, whatever happened.
Yeah, we got.
The woman decided, well, I'll go.
Great non-tourist.
And then he went down, to, I think it's, where they have
Whatever vibe you want
nice
it to be that day.
waterfalls, and he goes down like this, and those wires are not, they've never been there before.
Wow.
I know how to hit those.
So, anyway, be careful. I'm sure you are.
Stay up on.
Yes, fine. Yeah, don't do this sightseeing.
Sixty was.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
That's kind of neat.
It's not a bad number.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to like,
Since you
do I
got.
fly on public transportation or rent a car?
So there were two things I decided.
Yeah, I might rent a car. I don't really want to drive
License.
Right down there, and get all messed up.
One was.
Just, you know, trash it on the rocks.
The other one is.
Fly down to Cabo and rent a car and then head on.
And I've never, either one of those, and I've never even had
You know,
a.
those guys that we saw.
No issues.
No issues.
Yeah.
Down there, just hop on there.
So you flew, you.
Yeah, I lived with a guy named Guzman Ruiz for a while.
When I lived in.
No joke.
When I lived in Park City.
I'll drive one.
Yeah,
I was in the.
he trades in the fields.
About 100
What's the name of it?
And most of my
Inside of
time was-
Cabo, you actually go south
Skirt cheap, I
of
was
Cabo.
paying
There's a
$100
little
an hour
cool
drive
town
for
out there,
long Sydney.
Cabo Como.
Okay.
That's really cool out there. But again, I've been there
I
like.
think I paid $140.
Yeah.
Changed out.
Wow.
Like from there got to Burry.
Yes, yeah, that's wonderful.
That's cool out there.
So flu, I mean, flu, I would say,
Yeah.
you know, I've been
Still,
up and south.
anytime you have a four-lane highway bound.
This way, up in.
You're gonna get it.
You're gonna get it. And once you go
Some
that
decent.
four-lane highway, Cabo,
Experience.
up to La Paz.
But never in that long.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it's.
I don't, oh, there's, it's good.
But that's.
Santa, I was in Bozeman,
Yeah.
my sister's means, I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
yeah,
that's-
saves, where I've been up to play.
Like the sound of that.
This is good.
Alrighty, folks, the time is 6 PM. Thank you all for hanging out while we waited for our public hearings to begin. The first public hearing that we have to open, I'll convene that public hearing now at 6 PM. Is regarding the Lavina subdivision rezone. We have a staff presentation by Andrew Jackson for this. And Andrew, I sent you an email earlier, because we do have two rezones here. Would you take a moment to explain how it's two rezones, it's the same parcel number, but they're just being rezoned through different hearings?
Oh, for the Vina,
There's Lavina and then the McMurdy ADO one. I just didn't want people to start talking about the McMurdy ADO if we meant
oh,
about the Lavina.
yeah,
as
and
I
then
went
there's,
through the-
there's also the Bates.
And
What
the
is-
base is a separate one, but I just wanted to clarify the difference between the Lavina subdivision and the McMurdy ADO.
Oh, did they have it put down as the same parcel number?
The parcel maps are in the exhibits.
It was just mixed in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
There's like 4 pages that are mixed in from,
oh, okay,
McCurry.
Yeah,
so
the
there's-
descrip- the ordinance for. Sorry, yeah, the draft ordinance. For parcel 27168. Is included in the agenda summary for the hearing of Lavina,
Oh,
which
okay,
I maybe just tripped me up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just.
yeah, the ones at 1379 South Arnell, and the other ones on the Plateau, 1972 Plateau Drive.
Okay.
And I can just,
Oh, I see. I understand. That was just the pages were flipped. I see.
okay,
So,
Well, in that case, I'm satisfied. Sorry.
Okay. great. So just background on this foothold. Well, the property address is 1972 Plateau Drive. And it's all of the community Avena subdivision plus parcel 0200170198. It's about 14.78 acres. The existing zone is highway commercial, general business, and large lot residential. Existing land use on that site, it's vacant, and then they also do have a one townhouse or townhome on the property that's being rezoned. Adjacent zonings, large lot residential, highway commercial, general business. The general plan shows it as for highway commercial, so it's consistent with that. If Foothold Inc. is requesting the zone change on these various parcels for a residential townhome development, the applicant currently owns a townhome on the site and is proposing to build additional townhomes in that same architectural theme. There are issues for consideration, the A through K, and the attorney would like us to kind of include those. When you make a motion, and those are sent out to you a little bit later on the that Mr. Naylor had answered those questions A through K, and then also the staff finds that this proposed amendment is consistent with the future land use plan of Spanish Valley. The potential development is permitted within the highway commercial zone. The general plan states that when considering a proposed use or zoning designation, that you need to meet these 4 requirements. 1, the proposal must be consistent with the land use plan's overall vision and policy. The use of the designation must meet the planning principles outlined in the land use plan. The proposed use or designation should be included within the primary or secondary uses for that. And then all designated overlay zoning districts and associated land use or design requirements must be met. So staff has determined that that has met all of those requirements. And staff, because we still have to look at some of these things with the traffic and some of those things that we didn't have exactly answered just out of the general plan. And so it complies with the general plan. Staff recommendation would be for approval, but we don't. I found out later that maybe the general plan map didn't look at some of those things that could be issues. It shows here, like you say, that we've got the backup material. It shows where it's located and that it is within that commercial zone designation. I've got the parcel map that shows there, plus the subdivision plats associated with it too. And Mr. Naylor's here if you have questions.
Sure. Mr. Naylor, would you like to take a moment to come up and speak to your proposals? You can sit here and please state your first and last name for the record.
It's Troy Naylor.
Thank you, Troy.
And the biggest issue we want to kind of address is that we're trying to basically put together some, I wouldn't call them affordable housing for low income, but at least affordable housing for people that live in the community. That's our goal. We've got one duplex that's existing. We want to kind of follow that same idea. As far as the architectural design of it, we may want to put smaller units in, but we still want to keep it the same look so that it really kind of fits the community and makes it a nice place for people to live and be able to rent here in the community.
To talk a little bit, there's a significant drop off behind this property along there. If you could talk maybe a little bit about that.
We've actually come up with a road that will go down into there. It's again very steep. Those lower lots, we're not exactly sure what we'll build down there in that section. We've had to address sewage to get that pumped up out of there and come up with a pressurized line that will work for that. But we're thinking duplexes also in that property, but we may want to even consider just a building on each one of those 3 lots. We're trying to annex those, but if you look at the map that we drew or the site plan that we drew, the idea is basically right now to just put duplexes on those
4 lots.
Okay, and then, and you're also, just to mention, because we walked the property, there is the flood easement.
Yeah, and that, when we've addressed that, and actually that's been involved in the when we platted, they actually addressed that, and there's a piping system that we're putting in for that.
Perfect.
I'm sorry, I'm just curious, maybe this is more for Andrew.
No, it's okay.
Oh,
No, go ahead, Tony.
You mentioned that, you're looking to annex these 3 lots, 5, 6, and 7. Is this included in the city's like annexation intention?
No, so I think it's the,
Did I say?
yeah,
Sorry,
and I couldn't adding it into the zone change
Different kind of-
request, but yes.
I understand.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
I guess have we looked at the stormwater plan in the sense like, my memory, I lived on Plateau for a while. That drainage comes from across the highway and is a major stormwater drainage. I guess I'm shocked that somebody would want to build down in there.
It's
Yeah,
a
and this
massive, it really has to flood to actually get water down in that gully. You can see where it's eroded, that last storm that came through that was really bad. Yeah, that's it. So that eroded kind of cut that's down there, it actually broke the water line. And so what we've proposed is to actually pipe that just the same as what they've done coming across the highway. So that'll go down and we'll patch all the water down in the retention on the bottom of that property. The reality is it never actually, even as that flooded, it goes to the bottom of the property, which we've kind of planned as our natural drainage spot. And that's been addressed with the engineers, and the way that was put together, our engineer designed an actual catch basin for all of that water that will stay there. So we're catching everything that comes.
And that was still
We'll
with
keep
the
it on the
original
property.
subdivision, so.
That's correct. And that's.
They've got the
something that's already
subdivision,
been
and then they
approved.
just need to
Correct.
change to the general commercial in order to put the density that they're proposing on it. So subdivision's already been approved.
Correct.
It's the density associated with.
But it is something we've addressed.
Oh, this subdivision's already been approved?
It has, yeah.
It's in the
It's been
summertime, right?
recorded it's been about a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Super. I think I remember that subdivision. In that case, well, Roy, thank you very much.
Yeah,
sir.
you're welcome.
And do we have anybody who would like to make a comment regarding the Lavina subdivision proposal? Online?
How to check online for anybody?
You can see there's only one participant, and therefore that participant is the owl.
Okay,
And
okay,
that indicates to me.
okay,
that-
perfect. Okay,
all right, no one in the room?
I have comments, but not necessarily on the rezoning, because I'm a little confused about commercial comments that were put in the plan.
For the Lavina subdivision?
Yeah. for the-
Would you come and have a seat and state your,
yeah, your name.
your first and last name for the record?
I'm Karen Fury. I live on Plateau Circle, not Plateau Drive, but Plateau
you-
Circle,
Could you spell your last name?
FEARY.
Thank you.
So I'm very familiar with the subdivision and I've been kind of opposed to it ever since they first started a long time ago. And I'm sorry, but I just can't see building in a ravine where it's gonna flood. If my property floods just from water coming off the road. So anyway, I'm really concerned about that part, but, as far as rezoning, I'm not sure what that's going to really show us and impact us as far as the local area. We talked about commercial, and I don't know what that means. But I feel it's gonna really impact the local residents in the neighborhood, and the road is a lane and a half wide. So we're getting additional traffic from Arroyo Crossing, additional traffic, going to other places in the valley, but having that subdivision go in is just gonna really impact the whole neighborhood.
And if I could, just to, if it's okay, Chair, to address one of the questions. On the commercial, I think it's in the general plan. If it's not there, it may be in the other general, the other portion of the general plan, but it talks about having a buffer from the highway commercial that's along 191, and then buffering that with some higher density residential, and then going into residential. Kind of making it so it's not, so the back part of those commercial properties along Highway 191 would be residential, but as a buffer between commercial and the single family residential, so. And I think that's one of the things that Mr. Naylor is trying to do with that, is to, and you've got other property on 191 or that you're looking at commercial on that portion, but then this would be that buffer in between those two.
Super. Thank you very much. Seeing no other comments online or in the room, I would suggest we either entertain a motion to recommend or not recommend the rezone at Lavina subdivision inclusive of the text bullets A through K as referenced by Attorney Stocks.
And there are those, Mr. Naylor answered those questions, and that's a later portion of this document.
Yeah.
Ruler.
Oh man, I'm looking for A through K.
It's on the staff. report.
Yeah, at the end of the staff report.
Let's, I'll propose, based on, for recommending this for an episode, to get the conversation started, with that it's, consistent with the land use code, plan's overall vision and policy, and, yeah, the designated overlay zonings are associated with land use or designated requirements. So I kind of just wanted to like put that motion so we can start the discussion on that. And like the only like,
To be clear, you're
oh,
proposing a motion
sorry.
to recommend?
yeah, recommend, yeah.
Alright,
Sorry.
No, second.
second, thanks, Jerry. Yeah, Aaron, go ahead.
Okay, so. Like, I was, kept looking at that map and, you know, I just, part of me is a little bit hesitant about like, I mean, it's next to highway commercial, right? So we got that. And then we've got this kind of neighborhood street, but it's kind of on a node. And that's kind of where I'm just like, well, we zone it commercial now, but then that's opening up a commercial place kind of in a residential area, and I'm like, are they doing this to get the density? And I'm like, I'm not one to say like what, you know, we can't say what to do. I'm like, the planned unit developing kind of like achieve the same kind of like, you know, density that could do.
So, the plan unit development portion of the code doesn't allow density bonuses. So you're just the base density, but you can do clustering.
Yeah,
And so if the large lot residential would not allow that density he's looking at.
okay,
And so that's why I'm looking at the commercial, but you could do is you can say, okay, if somebody wanted to propose a zone change on this and that, you could put a condition that they have like a year or a year and a half to start construction and all permits. Otherwise, that zone change reverts back to the residential, so that you don't have to worry about, okay, they're coming in saying they're doing the townhouses, but then they get the zone change and then put in some type of heavy
Yes.
commercial, so
Mary, you had-
that is a possibility.
What he's saying, I don't like the idea of doing a sunset clause, because every sunset clause we have in the code book has messed up.
Yep, he has to go after it, and that's the next one.
Thing to do, and a PUD, and just discussing it, you don't have to necessarily cluster, you can use your PUD with the density of each parcel. We've done that at the village, so I know it works. But I don't even understand what zone you're asking for. Because,
Highway commercial.
well, the general, I mean, your staff report says small lot residential.
It's
That's-
Bates, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
that's the
that's-
Bates.
Oh, foothold, this is Bates? No, the other one is Bates.
Well, there's
And-
30 Bates in Lavina.
I think the staff report, I couldn't tell what you were going through and what was there already. So how much of it is highway commercial, how much of it is general business, and how much of it is large residential? And in each one of those zones, or in each one of the, in that parcel, do you know? You know?
Yeah, so if you look at attachment B,
Yeah, but it doesn't give us how much.
all the acreage,
Yeah. It just shows pictures, and we don't even know the acreages of all the little lots that's down there.
yeah, so the acreage of the subdivision, the Venus community at Venus subdivision, plus the one parcel to the north of it, is 14 acres.
But for all the, and I
She's
can't
asking.
tell if the subdivision is this, is something, yeah, it's all along this. Oh, it's all this, but this is one of the lots, right, with the creek runs through, or the wash, it's a wash,
Yeah, wash.
yeah, it's a wash.
Mhm.
Can I speak to that? Sure. I
Yeah,
might be able to shed a little light on it for you.
yeah.
So
No, no.
on,
Sure.
excuse me, just a second.
Sure. Hey, Sean,
Can we pull
do you
this
know
up
if you
on
can,
screen?
are you able to
So
pull
these
this
lots
up,
right here, so there's a duplex on them, those are on the large lots.
zoning
and so is
ordinance?
this one. These are already down in the bottom, they're already commercial lots.
I knew that.
So there's a split between general business and highway commercial. But this, and then this other parcel up here is zoned highway commercial, or not highway commercial, but general business. So what we'd like to do is just make all of it commercial, even these parcels only because of density. If you don't get if the only thing that will allow us to put two duplexes on each one of those half-acre lots,
Well, you already have 18 units per acre allowed right here.
on this portion, correct?
Yeah, on this.
But we're not, what we're trying to do is get two duplexes on each one of those. Yeah, sorry.
This is highway commercial with 18 units per acre, and however many acres you have there,
Mhm.
is it more than two?
Yes,
So you have 36 units. And then whatever this one allows, general
that's
business,
general
the
business.
general business is only upstory residential.
Yeah, general business doesn't allow
So you
residential.
could do that many units if you did a PUD and just added all that together.
I brought the PUD up in the beginning, so.
Yeah, and by looking at it,
It doesn't work.
it doesn't increase the density. It allows for, at least in my reading of it, it doesn't allow for any increase in density, but you're talking about the commercial area, but they still have some of the residential area.
They can just add on.
That's-
each one of
that's on the
them,
plateau.
2 units per acre, so you just,
I
anyway,
would,
that's something you guys need to. do.
yeah, I would hesitate to draft a
Yeah.
new. It's sort of like proposal, but what's in front of us today is this.
It's just a
the zone
reset.
change.
I agree.
Can I make one more comment? And you brought this up, Andrew. The buffer between the general business, the residential portion of that, we're not trying to get commercial on Plateau. That's not our goal. Our goal is to put duplexes on
Doesn't
Plateau.
matter, it's commercially zoned, it can be, put anything you want in that commercial zone on that lot.
That's where we're in.
I think there's a language that restricts that though.
You could, yeah, I mean, you could put that in there.
Nope.
This is the whole deal. This is the whole deal.
That's not, that would be allowing a regulatory. Putting a law on somebody else's property that nobody else gets.
Sure.
So you can't, no, you're putting commercial property in an area that probably shouldn't be commercial. Cause you can turn around tomorrow, as soon as it's rezoned, and put gas stations and fast food restaurants and. Anything else that's allowed in the highway commercial on those lots.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, so. Thank you, Troy.
Yeah.
So this red is an overlay, is that?
No, the red is the highway commercial, yellow is large lot residential, and then the pink is the general commercial.
Okay.
So
I
that.
mean, firstly, I'm just kind of like, some of that plateau circle has characteristics of general business. Some, you know, and then some of them are like,
Towards the corner.
yeah, and I get what you're trying to do, but from our perspective, we're kind of like, whoa. Walmart, residential area. But. Yeah.
Yep.
What is the elevation difference, Troy, between plateau and the tops of whatever might be developed?
I mean, as far as top of the buildings,
Yeah,
to be honest, we're the top of each one of those buildings. From the road, from plateau, it's gonna maybe be 15 feet is all. Even if we put 2-story units on it, we're gonna be 25, so they won't be tall buildings.
Sean, can I ask what flood zone those 3 commercial lots are in? Lot 5, 6, and 7?
so it's actually not the flood, it's not a wave
It's a flood A?
necessarily, but it's a flood zone A
Yeah, so,
with elevations and,
oh, they have elevations on?
well, no, it's just A, it's not an A.
Okay, so it's not a, gotcha.
But, they have agreed to pipe.
Well, that's all design stuff anyway, and what we're looking at here is just a rezone. And I have a really hard time using the little matrix that you take, and I tried to find this on the website, and I can't even find it.
This?
Yeah.
Yes, it's in the future land use
I went there,
plan, so not the map, but the plan.
I went to the map plan,
Yes,
and I couldn't
this is,
find it.
yeah, it's
What page
taken,
is it?
it's probably page 28, 26.
Anyway, my whole point is, if you look at the translating zone districts to place and types. You're translating existing zoning districts to place types does not allow for one approach. It is typically for few zoning districts to merge into a single parcel. And this is, and it says the zoning districts likely fit into the new places. This is not making zoning changes. This is what the general plan is saying, here's what we think we can do.
Yeah,
And I don't like using this because it needs more clarity. This is just the general plan is an advisory policy. It's not a document for law. And you can find that. I mean, I looked it up everywhere and everybody says the general plan is not a regulatory
Yes.
plan.
that's
And we
good,
shouldn't be
yeah.
using this to even go for the zoning.
That is a perennial consideration that comes in front of us with every subdivision and every zone change. And I suspect that it will come to us until we have completed the land use code update.
Amen.
And it gets to, the conversation really gets to, a process-based opportunity for us to decide if we want to use the land use plan, the future land use plan in lieu of updated land use code, which gets a little bit like I have my opinions on that. I don't think that the future land use plan, like legally, by the letter of the law, stands up as a decision-making document. So I really like to look at these things in the context of the land use code as it is written. And I'm just going to encourage the rest of the conversation to be like considering what is allowable as the code is written.
And the general plan is that is a guiding document
Right.
for your decisions, but will also be what the new code
But,
is.
yeah, we've had this conversation multiple times in here because every time somebody references the future land use map, this comes back up. And I think I'm fair in saying that without exception, all of us have agreed the land use code as it exists today is what we have to work with. And it's fine to reference the future land use map, but that doesn't really impact the land use code that's there today.
Kind
And
of,
so
yeah.
that's what they've asked for is something that's in today's land use code. It's highway commercial. That's what we evaluate here.
This is Bowie.
And all I was gonna say, a couple times, though, I think I've been swayed by the land use map. And it may be, if you're in one of those circles, there's gonna be a special neighborhood node. Or somebody comes in and it's large lot residential, but it's very clearly within a land use map. I don't mean on the border, but it's very clearly, I forget what it is, a dense community or whatever it is. It's got a different phrase than that. And I say to myself, yes, that's exactly what we're planning. But other kinds of things are sometimes very vague and I'm not clear what to do with.
One thing that should be pointed out here that, I don't think was included in the packet. And maybe Troy can speak to that a little bit more, but UDOT is planning a frontage road in conjunction with the county. It's gonna basically go right in front of this, where the tire store is gonna be. It's gonna extend down through there, so I don't know if that changes anything, but.
It doesn't really change anything from our perspective, and it doesn't really impact that property because you can't really access it from the highway.
I mean, the other thing that Sean and I were just talking about is at what point, when I lived on Plateau, I mean, you have to giddy up, get out on the highway. And at what point, at what threshold do you begin to need, you know, acceleration and deceleration, right?
I completely agree with you there, Trish. That is another perennial thing that keeps coming up. Those road engineering design standards get evaluated at the county's interdisciplinary team after this meeting
Yeah,
and
I
decision.
understand. Yes, I understand.
For
I'm just,
example, Grand Tire Pro is gonna move their shop here. And they wanted to use this driveway, which doesn't provide enough queue length for folks going in and out of there. You cut back out on the main line, so it's been required that they put their driveway back here for Grand Tire Pro rather than utilizing the existing driveway, because just based on the number of vehicles that will be going in and out of there, but that's just kind of a sidelight.
And that's the old Dominion dock you're looking at there. Right?
Well. I think I'll call for a vote on Aaron's. Remember, this is a recommendation for approval of the rezone as written, A through K included. Answers to those questions. All in favor of the rezone? Great. Those opposed? Two. Oh, you abstain?
Yep.
All right. Passes 3-2. Was that Mary and Aaron opposed? Bob O'Brien abstained. Super. And so this will go on which county commission agenda? Do we know yet? We don't.
Well, we're hoping it would be on the next one, but it's gonna be the one after that because of the discussion about whether we have a 10-day comment period.
Okey-doke. Moving on to McMurdy ADO rezone. Aaron? Would you, sorry, Andrew, would you do the honor?
Yeah.
In McMurdy.
There are a couple seasons there, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's that time of night already.
Yeah, tell me about it.
The property is located at 1379 South Arnell Lane. It's a 1.26 acre parcel. The property is currently used as a private residence for the McCurdy's. The request is to amend the Grand County zoning map to change the zoning on a parcel from large lot residential to highway commercial for residential purposes. We've got the A through K that have been answered there, and then you also have the rezone statement, and, I can leave that to, Mike McCurdy to answer any of those. Again, looking at it as a compliance with the general plan, it's in compliance with that general plan designation. But we also have that, where it's, there's a time element associated with that that's not in the future land use plan, but it is within, the regional center at Mill Creek Drive and Highway 191, however, it falls within that circle. And the property does have highway commercial to the east of it, along Mill Creek Drive, and then a couple parcels over. So, and you've got the diagram of what they're looking at, putting in there with the different units associated with that. And then Mr. McCurdy is here.
Mike, yeah, you wanna come up and you gotta introduce yourself.
Yeah. Name is Mike McCurdy. I'm the current owner, and you guys have seen this project a few times. If there's any questions about why I was looking towards commercial, I'll tell you a brief history. I had a private lender willing to finance my total project, AEO project, as it sat on rural residential lots. Sadly, cancer took him from us, and I went pretty much to every local lender, banks, credit unions, etc. No one's willing to finance the ADO project as it sits on rural residential lot. So I am looking to change my rural residential lot to highway commercial. Just to pass through financing. That's where I'm at.
And I did incorrect
Yeah.
state that it was large lot residential, it's rural
It's
residential.
rural residential, yeah. Previous project and still the same project. I mean, as I presented with the ADO project. There's it's commercial fully surrounding me. Commercial to the back of my lot, commercial to the side of my lot, or to the north of my lot. I'm just off the highway commercial zone that the hotel was built on. I can't think of the hotel's name. Yeah. So I don't see the zoning being radical in the neighborhood. It is a neighborhood. But I'd like to keep it neighborhood and move further on my ADO program. That's been a long time running now.
It is, thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Do we have anyone in the room? No. And there's no one online. So in that case, I would entertain a motion to either recommend or not recommend approval of the McCurdy ADO rezone. We didn't have any additional language with that. No, just that.
Yeah, and then, well, you do have the A through K that they're requesting.
I'll move to recommend denial on this rezone based on the issues of consideration, because I see things in here that don't qualify. One is that if you're in a. Can I go ahead and speak now, or do I need to wait for a second?
Well,
I'll second it.
One reason is because it's on a private road. And if you put HC zoning on that lot. Once again, you can put a fast food restaurant, it doesn't matter what goes in, that's what's allowed. And one of the reasons, as you can see in his statement is that the bank won't be allowed on it. And there's reasons that they want it to be commercial because they're worried about the future of this plot too. If it has to have this much zoning or this kind of zoning for future use, because these things could disappear. And we would have this commercial zone right in the middle of a rural residential neighborhood. And I grant you that you're adjacent to the commercial along Mill Creek, but that zoning has been there since the first state road went through. That's the only reason that's zoned commercial there. It was the original state road. And even in our current land use code, highway commercial requires vehicular traffic, not from a private road. Right, and he has to cross a private access to get into this property. And it comes off of a neighborhood road, which is a minor arterial. It's not a major arterial. And commercial property rezones are required to have some kind of major arterial. And that's my reason for denying it. And that is in the section of the issues for consideration. You only need to pick one. There's quite a few. Is the site suitable for rezoning based on a consideration of environmental and scenic quality impacts? Of course, the environmental impact is it's on a private road and they're putting commercial on a private road. Won't work. I don't know how that could work. And it's does consider kind of a spot zoning because the only part of this property that's in the commercial is that corner there. And that whole neighborhood is rural residential and there are neighbors, there are people there. And I also have a question on your ADO. You know, that's only good for 2 years and you have to have a certificate of occupancy by next January. Have you got it started? Did you get a certificate of, did you get a building permit?
Answer during this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
Right. Previously, the access, was brought to question. I had to get an easement agreement signed or signed and notarized by all my neighbors. To get part of the ADO program. And then I also applied for an extension
Oh, you've
on
applied for
this.
extension.
Yeah.
But that's only 6 months. According to the land use code. So, anyway, I just wondered why that was considered an ADO.
Aaron, sorry, Andrew, has Grand County Roads, has Cody McKinney been looped in about this in a preliminary way at all, or?
Yeah, we went out to the site. It's been 2 weeks ago or something like that.
I had to have,
walk the site.
I had to have roads, fire. Wissa,
They did the.
everyone out, yeah.
Fire department approved the access between the building and the pole. There's a electrical pole that's right close to it, but they approved that access through there.
But once again, we're putting a highway commercial zone down there. This ADO will go away. And we could, and your neighbors don't know that they could have a gas station down there at some point.
Aaron, did you have your hand up?
No.
Other thoughts? Yeah, Obi first. Jerry.
I'd say number one, I really, although I'm going to probably vote against, I'm probably gonna vote with this recommended motion. I want to say, I love the project conceptually. This seems like would be really affordable housing. My great concern is zoning this highway commercial. It doesn't seem an appropriate thing to do. It doesn't seem appropriate to build a second hotel in the neighborhood. I'm just, not that you would want to do that, but that doesn't seem appropriate, and we never know. I don't think you would ever decide, well, I'm going to go sell it to some commercial thing. But in your letter, it's very interesting. It's that you can't get money for this unless this is zoned commercial. And that's because they're worried about the risk of doing this if they don't have the kind of collateral behind it. And if you were to default, it would default to them and they would have highway commercial property. And I just don't think we should take that risk. And I am sorry that there's not a financer who would support this project, because I think it's a wonderful project in terms of the potential cost of that housing. but it doesn't seem right to rezone this highway commercial to me.
Andrew, is there, oh, sorry, yeah, Jerry, you first.
And I just want to second what Bob said about the attraction of the plan. I think that's a great plan. I would love to see this going. That said, the only issue I have with it is the highway commercial zoning. I like the fact that you referenced the mixed use flex commercial. I know the future land use map is going to translate into new land use code, and I would think there's something in there that we could use. But the hesitation that I have is exactly what Bob mentioned, which is just the highway commercial zoning and the fact that it could become anything at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Sorry.
your project.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I know the core, I'm not supposed to say, yeah. It seems on a developer side, I'm more in the know than most, we all know that. It seems from a developer side that a program was created. I entered that program, I got to this point, and now I'm being told we can't finance it. So you're done with the program, and 2 years went, 2.5 years, give or take, as now wasted because I do have timelines. I do have hard timelines.
Yep.
On stuff, so on a developer side, it feels like a big waste of why this program was even created.
Yeah, Trish.
But Mike, that's not on the county. A developer should come to the table with financing. It is not on the county when developers cannot finance their projects. I mean, unfortunately, we just, never mind, I'll not bring in the meeting the other night. But that's not on the county. It's not on the planning commission or the county commission. Developers, if they want to develop something, they should be, that's on them to come with financing. I don't think we should be rezoning property to help a developer get financing, and a developer should come to the table with financing. So that's not,
I take it strike.
I'm not trying to pick on you, I'm just saying.
No,
we
no,
can't
I
be
understand.
manipulating.
Alrighty, guys, I'm gonna jump in really quick, and remind us that if we're going to need to be strict about how these meetings are run, if you have questions, you can ask them to me, and you can address me, and then I will field them or answer them as I am able. Brian?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm gonna push back a little bit and say that the ADO program, right, was a request to the community to come in and help solve affordable housing. It wasn't a request to developers to come out. We reached out to the citizens. And to think that the residents of Grand County were gonna come in with financing ready for these projects, I think would be a big ask in this county, just figuring our, demographics that we kind of have here. So, I do think that it should be understood that, there were people that did come into this with good faith and tried to make something happen out of nothing.
Yeah.
And that the program has flopped.
Yeah.
So I do think that is worth noting.
I tend to agree, yes, Zoe.
Sure.
And I would only say, I think that's probably absolutely true. The county, of course, didn't decide that they had a pot of money to support such stuff, but I don't think the way we do it is through upzoning so that somebody will come in and finance it. And then if it doesn't happen, we'll have this zone property. There are some people, I remember Joe Kingsley saying this at one time, when he was on the planning commission, that he wouldn't, I'm not quite as adamant as this, by the way, he would never approve an upzone on the basis of what somebody said they were gonna do with their property, because somebody came in and said, here's what I'm gonna do with my property. Isn't it a beautiful thing? And of course, people on planning commission and everybody else were all susceptible. This is a beautiful plan and then didn't do it. I'm not saying that about Mike. I believe he's
Oh,
would do this exact plan if he could. But you know, it's a funny way to finance programs to zone so that people can get financing for it. So it's a terrible dilemma.
Andrew, can I ask you a question and
Sure.
then we'll go straight back
Yeah,
to you?
yeah.
The only thing about this that gives me a moment of pause really is the jump from rural range and grazing to highway commercial, taking it from one end of the spectrum over to the
Rural
other.
residential.
Thank you. Did I say range and grazing? From rural residential. From rural residential to highway commercial. Is there, and I was looking at here and I couldn't really see acre counts or anything like that, or maybe I just didn't look at my but is there any other zone that could be applicable and financeable, like small out resident MFR 18, like with all the other criteria that are in place, it's an ADO and the lot size, like, is highway commercial the only zone possible?
Oh, so that.
Yeah, well, I asked,
Go ahead.
Andrew can call on other people if he wants.
Yeah, and those have been here longer and kind of understand the background. Feel free to jump in at the chair's direction. I think they've looked at it through the ADO, right? And there's just been some of these issues. I'm not a developer but anything from a fourplex below is residential financing. So you can buy a fourplex and do it as a residential. Anything above a fourplex requires commercial loans, and typically those commercial loans will require commercial property in order to do that. So residential. So
That's good background. Thank you.
I mean, you can look at going back to the original ADO, but that doesn't change the financing of it, right? And even if you look at and say, okay, well, we'll do it as some type of planned unit development, that I think you would have to come back and before you could do that, change the zoning ordinance on the planned unit development. But still, again, without it being commercial developed or commercial zone, you have the financing issue. But again, I'm not a developer, so I don't know, but that's.
I appreciate your experience. Got it. Does anybody else, Aaron?
Yeah, I just was, thinking what you were saying. I mean, we could do a recommendation of neighborhood commercial. Maybe that would like fit this, is this the thread the needle on this or? I mean, this is like the other project. I agree with the spirit, but all the other counter arguments is really the heart of this zoning idea. We have to think for future uses on that. So, I mean, as much as I hear Brian, your argument and Mike's and then I'm like listening to you, Tony, and like, yeah, like, could we do an alternate notion of a neighborhood commercial?
I don't think we can use neighborhood commercial because that doesn't exist in the land use code.
Well, it does currently. We have non-residential.
We have a neighborhood commercial, but
Yeah.
it's specific to upper housing.
Yeah.
With commercial.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so general business would be our other.
Yeah, general business doesn't allow the residential.
Resort, I think the other one I had thought of at one time was, I think it's resort special, whatever the one is, that's for 313 and 191. It says, but that's really kind of concentrated there, but it's a commercial zone. But it just won't, it's really inappropriate because it's really not for this area.
Megan, I heard you had your voice.
Well, I agree with Aaron. I also think that's a solid point that Brian brought up.
Yep.
The ADO program was not created for these millionaire developers to come in and do this program. It was created for people in the community who probably can't come up with that kind of funding without having a plan in place first and without doing all of the steps. Mike has been diligently working on this project for a really long time and has deadlines in place. This is for affordable housing, which is something that we all harp on every single meeting. There's some, but there's also the highway commercial that it,
Does Mary or Andrew have any recollection? Are there any other ADU overlays on highway commercial property in Grand County right now?
ADU or ADO?
Whatever this one is.
Yeah.
Going with Valdez.
I guess that was my
Thank you,
question.
ADO.
Does an ADO, because it's an overlay, go on to a
I
commercial?
think, wasn't, Matt Neeson,
Guys,
um,
I want to hear from Andrew.
Yeah, and I don't know, I mean, we do have the map that shows where those, I think that would be.
I looked up, when I was going through this, because I was
Sure.
concerned about the ADO. I got on our map within our county, our zoning map, and I put the overlay over on it, and it didn't even show that his was on there.
It did
So
not, is what you said.
it didn't show the ADO overlay on McCurdy property. And then I asked her if she could, if it had passed, and she said yes, so she sent me the resolution or the ordinance and the deed restrictions and stuff that were required for you to record.
Yeah, the easement restrictions.
Yes, and so that's when I asked her, or when I got that information, I thought, well, then I wonder if a building permit was issued, because that also was required as part of the ADO. And I called the city or the building department, she says, no, nothing's been issued and nothing, and it's not been CO'd. So, and I says, oh my gosh, there's a timeline that has to happen. In my brain, I'm thinking the county needs to quit doing these sunset regulations. When you brought that up a minute ago, no, not another one, because we've had so much
Right,
problems
yeah.
with them. And I've only been on the planning commission for 2 years. And I've heard a couple of them and they were problematic. We never had them when I worked there. But one of the reasons I retired is because one of them was going in and I thought, I don't want to deal with this. It's gonna be problematic and I wanted out of it.
Sure, yeah.
And then I have to deal with my planning commission, so. I think these sunset laws or regulations are crazy. A good reason to get this fixed, so maybe we could put the ADO in without a sunset clause if we get through the land use code.
Yes, so there isn't, I don't see another tool that we have in the land use code.
I know.
They can do this, right?
Okay.
So but again, we don't want to do it piecemeal either with the code. And I guess there had to have been something that you talked about with the other consultant on the land use plan, because this is within that regional center.
is it? I thought the regional center was Mill Creek. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
this is a
understand.
regional center,
Right.
so I don't know what discussions were
That
involved with that.
delineation of the regional center was not at the parcel resolution. We just said like popular intersection,
Yeah.
draw a circle around it.
Okay,
The diameter of that circle is entirely arbitrary.
okay.
Yeah.
And that whole corner, not in his property, because if you go down there, that used to be an orchard. And it even had great big drainage through it, the neighbors complained.
Yeah, so I don't know the background.
Yeah,
of
so
the regional
that
center.
was just because that whole corner there, also you're within the city annexation map. And we should get something from the city saying they don't want it,
Oh,
so.
Uh,
The annexation area is right there, because they annexed Heaton's property a while back.
yeah, Mike, would you speak to the annexation thing?
went to the city to ask, if it was in the future, and they said it is not currently, but I would have to apply
Oh.
to the city to be annexed.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's in the annexation overlay.
Separation.
So they're- 'cause
Don't
they're
like
in
paying
town.
taxes twice.
Oh, don't you, no, don't.
I do think we may run into something there. I know that. Because this came up with with Troy's rezone, parcels that are and this is just in keeping with the precedent that we've had and done previously, parcels that may be subject to annexation by the city, we do need a written letter from the city saying that they don't want it if we move to rezone. Now, that's something that can happen post fact before this gets to consideration by the county commission. But that is a big one.
And was that when you did the ADO previously, was that part of that?
Quick question that's
Discussion.
been asked that hasn't been answered. So one of the considerations for the ADO was the proximity to highway commercial. So that was one of the, when we were around here getting that back together, one of the considerations was proximity to highway commercial. So that was,
But they
answer
can
your question.
They can access, proximity to the highway from that route lot.
They didn't want that because I can't remember, I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name that had the lot that had the workers that would stay in the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember, and that, it didn't have to, we didn't want, it wasn't the access to Highway 191. There was the proximity to highway commercial. That was one of the, not requirements, but criteria for select.
Mr. McCurdy, was there anything brought up when you did the ADO about the annexation?
No. And my information that was just said came from the city 2 weeks ago. I didn't get a letter.
You went and talked to him about this property and.
I'm sure they don't want it, but they are within the annex.
Yeah,
Sure, okay.
And I'd only add, I mean, one of the thoughts when the ADO was going through also was employers housing employees. They might have the money, they might actually do it on their own commercial land. And this was one way for that to happen, which then would, I don't want to say it's a little separate, that part's separate of financing, but for a citizen to step up and just provide affordable housing, that is kind of a different model, which I think, I mean, the ADO was planned to for that also, but
Aaron,
it's a different ballgame.
I just kind of wanted to dig into that, like what you were saying, it's not, you can't have an ADO on general business or neighborhood commercial. In the code, it says ADOs are preferred in the following zoning districts, which names general business and neighborhood commercial.
Yeah,
You know, and I'm just kind of like, is this a more palatable option as an alternative motion to recommend a general, neighborhood commercial? Because I personally just feel like that is a need in our community, and it's like, okay, Mike solves it. Okay, we have a place that serves the community. I don't, like, that's my only, like,
Would
Yeah.
that, sorry, Tom, would that solve the,
Well,
is that a presentable option for financing?
I don't know. They said commercial. And by they, it's all local lands.
yeah, and I guess it's one of those things where there's the crisscross in the code. Cause I couldn't find anything in the general business, and maybe I was missing something that allows for residential. And that's why we're looking at the highway commercial, but you do say the ADO says it can be in general commercial, but general commercial doesn't have residential uses.
I mean, I'll propose an alternative motion, to approve
Do you need to
the F zone for a.
vote on the one or?
What's that? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta vote on that one first. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, do we, are we ready to hear a vote on Mary McGann? or
You're okay, we're all.
Mary Hoffman's motion? Oh, God help me. Send a motion to not recommend the rezone as it is written. All in favor of not recommending? Okay, all in favor,
Wait,
like,
All in favor of not are you saying all in favor of the motion?
Not the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
Motion to deny.
Yeah. To not recommend, yes.
so that motion fails. I think I was the only person who voted not alongside Mary's motion. Aaron,
I'll propose an alternative motion to upzone this, property owned by Mike McCurdy to neighborhood commercial.
I'll second.
Now,
Obi's confused. Hold on.
I am confused. I thought
The
we
motion has been seconded.
no, I didn't second it.
No,
I did.
Megan
You
did.
did,
Obi,
okay.
just what do you?
Yes. Did we just have a motion that was to send an unfavorable recommendation of what was in front of us right now,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we are doing a motion on something that's meant, I just have a question for Andrew,
Mhm.
and that question is that possible, given that the public hearing was about
Yeah.
this being
Oh, yeah.
highly commercial?
Yeah, because people could attend
Okay,
and be here if they had questions.
have
about it.
questions about this,
That's
good,
what
okay,
public-
good.
Can't do that.
You have to,
No, you can do that.
Yeah.
Can do, can do.
Oh my
go
God.
through- you have to go through a new process.
You saying you
You have
have
to
to go?
reprocess, yeah, because this was not for an RG zone district. This was for a highway commercial. So you have to re-advertise. Or I would at least check with the
Yeah.
attorney on
Yeah.
that, because
Yeah.
I don't think that would work.
I can,
Sure.
And there's nobody here that would go around that.
I can withdraw that.
Yeah, well,
Nobody.
Oh.
You say quiet, it just dies.
the thing inside.
The thing inside,
Yeah, Mike.
I'm so.
It does.
or the motion.
I don't think it's a problem. I just think that we just need to get our land use code written. And then we'll allow that, because it
Yeah,
will
but-
take that section off you.
Time.
It will very.
Yes,
And see if they get the promotion,
Right.
it would be sitting. it would be
Yeah.
I understand that one. It feels developer side.
Yeah.
Not. That side still feels.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
The next one we have up is the Bates rezone. I realized that I didn't call the start time for that last public hearing.
Okay.
So I'm going to put it just to split things evenly at 6:30.
Yeah, it was pretty close to that.
All right. Yeah, the next one is Bates rezone. I'm gonna turn it over to Andrew Jackson for the staff report on that. This one is a lot farther south of town.
It is.
Right, yeah, it's on the border.
On the
Yeah.
county line.
So the request is from Ken and Julia Bates. The existing zoning is rural residential. The property is vacant land. Adjacent zoning is rural residential. What they're wanting to do originally was they have this parcel that they have they gave a easement to the Nature Conservancy. And so the original plat that came through showed the 11 acres under the conservation easement, and then showed this development with I think it's probably pretty close to 11 acre or 11 lots. However, on that easement, the Nature Conservancy extinguishes all development rights on that 11 acres. And so they cannot be transferred someplace else. That's actually in the easement, right? And so when we look at this, although there's a tendency to say, well, there's 11 acres that are reserved next to this, but you have to look at just this 3.46 acre property, and whether or not the density associated with that is something that you're comfortable with on that as a standalone property. And to fit that in, the only thing that they have is a small lot residential for these 6 lots. And then if you look at it's within the compact neighborhood general plan designation. And that compact neighborhood can go to the small lot residential, and multifamily residential are identified on this translating the zoning districts to place types in the general plan. and I thought they'd be here, but
Can I ask you a question about his report?
1 second, I have
Sure.
one matter of business I need to
Oh.
address first. I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion because I work for the agency that certifies and validates nature conservancy conservation easements. And so I wouldn't want to end up in a place where I have to, cross lines that way. But just to get that out of the air, I'd be recusing myself from that vote. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm a little confused, but that's just because I didn't know all of this background, at least in the packet that I got from the Public Agenda Center about 3 days ago. So when I looked it up on the map, I looked at this parcel, I look at Spanish Valley Drive, and there's a bunch of land over here on the eastern side. And there's a small little patch over on the western side, is that correct? And the eastern of the, and I'm just wondering if we're talking now about the whole parcel. The pretty clear on the eastern side, this is land that is, not to be compact development.
right,
But on the western side, there's a portion that is. Are we only talking about the western portion?
yes, that 3 acres.
It was not understandable to me because I looked at it and here's the parcel. What are they trying to rezone?
Yeah,
Are they
so,
trying to rezone?
Toby, it's
Yeah.
the.
so the whole,
I see the.
yeah, so it is still one tax parcel.
But this is what I'm asking.
The 14
Yeah.
14 acres
Yeah,
is one tax parcel with the
Yes.
road going through it.
yes,
And so what they're looking at doing is taking this 3.46 acres. That's still in the same parcel as one parcel with the
Mhm.
other. And splitting that off on the west side
Okay.
of the road to do this development. And that's where, like I'm saying, you can't count the area that's under the easement.
and it doesn't do anything to the zone on the east side.
Correct, yeah, yes.
that right?
So it will be separated out, that will be a remainder parcel, and then this would be the subdivision of the,
Very helpful. I did not get that from my read.
sorry.
Super. At this point, I'll entertain any public comments, but I do not see any in online or in the room. And so in that case, in order to have substantive discussions, unless we have more clarifying questions for staff, we would need to entertain a motion. Jerry?
I'll make a motion to approve the Bates subdivision as per the documentation that was sent out.
Super, thank you.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Aaron?
I have a question,
Yes.
to staff.
Sure.
Does he have to subdivide that land before he can do that?
Yeah.
Should he go through a subdivision of that land where he has to subdivide from the road? So that
Yeah,
the parcel's
so-
separate from the other?
Yeah, so that's, has submitted a subdivision of that. But the subdivision doesn't meet the current zoning, so he has to have the zone
No,
change.
I mean, the whole parcel currently is 14 whatever acres,
Right,
but he's only going to subdivide, or only wants this one section over here that's 3 point whatever. And there's a road that runs through it, but it's one large parcel. Should this be subdivided off? Should it make it 2 parcels so that this doesn't confuse this parcel?
Yeah, that's what they should ultimately do in the end of it.
Okay,
Once we do the subdivision and all of that, you've got this other parcel that's still, it's 11 something acres. So it still meets the minimum requirements of the zone.
Oh, yeah.
And as under that easement, and so when they do the subdivision, they'll have that and.
well,
And that,
well, when he comes in with his subdivision,
mhm.
and it's still one big parcel, will this be considered a part of the subdivision because it's still one parcel? So do you subdivide at that time where this comes off and stays in the conservation easement and this stays? This will
Right,
become subdivided.
yeah, and that's what,
It'll have, so then in the subdivision process, that will be a lot and these will be a lot.
right, that's
Okay,
exactly, yeah, because
This one-
it still meets the minimum requirements of the existing zone there. And that's what they've got with this site plan, and I don't know, I guess they've done a few of these that they've submitted. And they wanted to do the zone change before they keep submitting
and
different.
I have
Sure.
one more
Sure.
comment. When we do zone changes, we can't make a zone change based on what we see. And it's always been kind of policy that you don't bring in a site plan or a subdivision saying, hey, here's what we want. Because we all know that that may not happen. So, when I saw the subdivision, I wasn't sure why that was there. Because it's really not what we're doing right now. We're not following subdivision regulation, we're following zone change.
Right, yeah, yeah. And so it's looking at what they're proposing on there, what can be done on the property. But yeah, as a planning commission,
Well,
you have to look at the
just
zone
whenever-
change, yeah. Yep.
Specifically, the small lot residential, and only can be used for housing. So it's just lots are smaller.
And it is currently rural residential.
Right.
Any other discussion? Collaborating?
I just think it matches some of the, I drive out there a bunch. I mean, it's a patchwork of this kind of housing, larger lots. It's on the highway, or it's on a major artery. Sunny Acres is kind of like a through zone. I think it kind of matches the characteristic of the area, so.
I'm just gonna ask a kind of final question, well, who knows, of course. And that is. So this is a kind of funny thing because we are now saying that we are going to zone part of a parcel. So is our motion that we want to zone with this part of the parcel, but not the other part? Or can, in other words, can we zone half a parcel, or in this case, 1/5 of a parcel? Or are we rezoning the entire thing? Now here, if the Nature Conservancy actually has an easement, I feel a little more comfortable, but I don't even know if we can zone just part of a parcel.
Okay. So
Yeah,
all along the highway commercial zone, you've got the, or
Yep.
191, you've got parcels that are
Yep.
split.
so this motion is we're splitting the parcel. And it just, so if I understand this motion, it's only has to do with this acreage that's on the west side of the road. That's what the notion, but not the whole parcel.
Well,
And that's actually the way it was written, a
Good.
3.46 acre parcel.
Good, good,
And the same thing is what
good.
Commissioner Hoffine said that like,
Later down the
you can't look at the 11
Yep.
acres and make your decision based off of that.
Yeah.
You have to look at this 3.46 and make your decision as to
Getting
what.
more comfortable all the time.
super. Commission liaisons, you guys gonna play? All right. In that case, I'll call for a vote. Everyone. Who made that motion? Jerry, yeah. Everyone in favor of Jerry's affirmative motion to recommend the rezone? There's 4, and Mary, opposed?
Yeah, I am.
Motion passes, Hoffine. Opposed.
And my only reason is I want Rancher's code written. I think this is so confusing. It drives me crazy.
It would be the clarity that will come from the land use code when it is completed will.
All these things may happen at that time.
Just a quick note, and maybe Andrew, you can check on this. I think within your guys' bylaws, you need 4 to pass. The majority. So going back to that first rezone request, that wouldn't have passed because it was 3-2. So I'm just,
Well,
I believe so. So I will
Yeah.
check. I'm gonna just leave that up to you to work with
Yeah,
Stephen on
Thank
that.
you.
and will it be is it the majority of who's here? Because
No, I
this-
think it's the majority.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who's
Checking
in
the
attendance.
bylaws, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then what was the vote on the ADL?
The ADO was, motion in
5-1.
not recommend,
Deny.
5-1.
deny, I was
Voted
the
with
only.
Tony on that.
Oh, you did?
Mhm.
Thank you,
I
Megan.
raised my hand.
So 4-1.
So it was 4-2.
4-2. Sorry.
Sorry, I missed you there.
Did that happen?
It was
Yeah, well,
hesitant.
Yeah, it was raised this much.
Yeah, it was there, but not a lot.
Yes.
okay, sorry.
No, I'm sorry I missed that. I've been at work since 06.
That's right.
So, what's next? General business, we have none. We already tackled future considerations, just to run them down. Nominee interviews. Gonna be on the 9th, right? 15th,
15.
thank you. Nominee interviews are gonna be on the 15th. From here on out, we'll be moving public hearings to start at 5:30. And we will have to take care of our,
The meeting starting at 5:30.
Sorry, public hearings.
6. Okay.
starting at 5:30. And then we'll have to come up with our posted schedule of meetings. They're always the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, so. But do we have a motion to adjourn?
And then we adjourn.
Seconded by everybody. All right.
Second, I was writing.
Yeah.
And then she'll have to shut the doors and all that.
Yeah.
When
Like adjourn.
they just-
Oh.
Just running on
You
Instagram.
guys are good.
Out of here and see.
You sound tired.
I know they always check with me and I'm like, oh.
It's
Good with locking it up?
I got it.
You got it. Thanks, Andrew.
And it's just this door. The other door should be locked.
What's that?
The other door should be locked, right?
Yeah, just close the lights.
You know, since we
Hit
don't
that door.